But everyone wants to
Test.
Well, I'm just gonna be talking about windows. I think there's some that are a aluminum window
Yeah.
that we've had somebody find that they're not just some of those proportions, but they were pretty limited in the profiles that they had, or the light patterns that they had, something like that.
I know I'm trying to get there, but it. Yeah, it just reloads.
Test.
Are you just trying to find the
All right, everyone, we'll get started. Welcome to the August 27th, 2026 VAR small meeting. My name is Lindsay Van Slambrook. I'll be your chairwoman this evening. Fellow board members present are Kaylin McNabb, Daryl Cobb, Becky Finno, and Bill Ferner. City staff present are Frankie Pinto, BARS Administrator, and Travis Golly, Senior Preservation Planner. The order of tonight's meeting will be as follows. For each application, we'll hear an introduction and overview of the project by city staff for the benefit of the board and the public. This will be followed by the applicant's presentation. You will have 10 minutes. If you are the applicant presenting, please approach the podium, state your name first and last for the record. And anyone speaking on behalf of the applicant, so owners, designers, consultants should speak during the applicant presentation versus during public comment. The applicant's presentation will be followed by public comment. Any written public comment that was submitted on the city's website in advance of the meeting has been provided to the board for review. If you are speaking as a member of the public, please approach the podium, state your name first and last for the record, and a neighbor, if you live nearby, if you're a neighbor, please state your address as well. Public comment will be followed by city staff comments and recommendations. And once we've heard from city staff and the public, the applicant will have a 5-minute period of time to clarify or respond to anything raised during the public comment or in the city staff comments and recommendations. Well, after the applicant response period, the applicant's presentation and public comment will be closed and we'll move into board discussion and a vote on each application. Results will be posted online on the city's website. Agenda item 15, 43 Lawrence Street has been deferred. Please turn off your cell phones and please remember that the purview of this board is architecture only. So anything related to livability, stormwater, zoning is not within the purview of this board and should not be voiced here. Okay, agenda item 1 is review of the minutes from the August 13th, 2026 meeting. I make a motion to defer. Do I have a second?
Second.
Bill, all in favor?
Aye.
None opposed. The motion passed unanimously. Agenda item B1 is 15 Clemson Street. Frankie, if you'll give us an introduction and overview of the project, please.
Yes, ma'am. 15 Clemson Street is in Wagner Terrace, Council District 6. It is a category 4 in the architecture inventory, group 2, circa 1940 in the historic materials demolition district. They are requesting approval for a partial demolition of exterior elements visible from the public right of way. This is the property's location on Clemson, and I'm going to turn it over to the applicant. Okay, sorry.
I am Dorothy Latin, 15 Clemson Street. You were out there this morning. I came to see if you would reconsider having the windows repaired because those windows are in terrible, terrible shape. You can't even close the windows. They're rusted. It's not hurricane proof. I had a private contractor come and look at the windows. So we went and we got hired Lowe's to see, but getting replacing the windows, and they were out. They saw the condition that the windows were in, and the windows really do need to be replaced. And I wanted to see if you would reconsider. I know that a lot of codes have changed in the Wagner Terrace area, but as you're getting younger, you're not as familiar with all of the changes and the codes that's going on. But we have a lot of residents in that area who's got vinyl windows. And I think it's about 11 in that area. And I wanted to see if you would reconsider and let us redo our windows. It's in real bad shape. It's rusted, it's terrible. They were out there this morning, but I really hope that you would reconsider.
Have you had anyone come out there and look at them to see if they're repairable, that they could be stripped, reglazed?
I've had a private contractor, and the people from Lowe's came out and looked. They are really in bad shape.
So you've had 2 come out?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Any other questions for the applicant? Thank you. Do we have anyone speaking from the public? Oh, and And you can sit down. You'll have a period of time if you want to respond to anything said in public comment. Thank you, Ms.
Kate Tutilli for Charleston Foundation. HCF is opposed to the proposed replacement of its existing historic steel windows. These windows are an important character defining feature of the property, should be retained and repaired in accordance with the Secretary of Interior standards. As outlined in Preservation Brief 13, the repair and thermal upgrading of historic steel windows. Historic windows can often be successfully repaired and upgraded while preserving their historic material. We also emphasize that vinyl is not an appropriate replacement material and is incompatible with the historic character of the building. Thank you.
My name is Nora, Preservation Society of Charleston. The PSC appreciated the opportunity to visit the site this morning. While it is hard to determine the extent of the deterioration, we have seen durable metal windows like these stripped and refurbished with great success. As these windows are likely original, we encourage the applicant to explore options for repair before replacement per the BAR policy statement on replacement windows rather than replacing them wholesale. Thank you.
Is there anyone else speaking from the public? Okay, Frankie, if you give us city staff comments and recommendations.
Yes. Okay, so some observations from staff. The request was previously denied by staff in a permit as it was requesting replacement of 20 windows, which is a wholesale replacement. Staff also was not able to consider the requested windows as a repair. And when staff originally reviewed it, we hadn't received the documentation that the windows had to be replaced rather than were able to be repaired. If the board decides to approve, staff condition for approval is providing a window schedule showing damage so that staff can document. Per ordinance, if approved, project must wait 30-day appeal period for permit approval, not submittal for approval, and any changes in scope must return to the board. Now, as usual, staff recommendation for wholesale is denial as submitted.
Thank you, Frankie. Ms. Latin, before we move into board discussion and a vote, did you want to respond to or clarify anything raised in the public comment or in the city staff comments and recommendations?
I really didn't hear the public comment too well because it was so low, didn't hear.
I think the gist of their comments were that they're character defining features that should be repaired versus replaced. I think that was the gist of what both of the preservation groups said. So you don't have to respond right now if you'd have nothing else to say, but if you wanted to, you have the opportunity at this time to.
The only thing I do have to say is that I really don't feel safe in my home now because of the condition of the windows, and especially with hurricane season right here now, I really just don't feel safe. It's not safe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, public comment and the applicant's presentation is now closed. We'll move into board discussion and a vote.
This is a unique one. Since I've been on the board, we haven't had to deal with replacement of steel windows. We know how to handle this with wood windows and clad windows. And we just normally don't allow vinyl windows, so.
And here, we're not looking at the replacement. We're only looking at demo. So
Okay.
it would be a staff level decision. And I know staff can't approve vinyl, but what's before us is purely demolition of the windows.
Is there?
I've never rehabbed any of these. Have you?
No, that's why I'm a bit stuck.
It's a whole different animal.
Yeah.
It can be. I mean, I can imagine that these don't function or open. I'm sure a lot of them are corroded shut. And
Think we
it
still
can be
have-
quite difficult to rehab them, depending on how far they're on how much corrosion there is. Not to say it's not impossible. And also, if you look at the neighborhood too, I don't know what I think about this, but I think what I would say sister building across Pendleton, I believe, originally had these windows and they were replaced relatively recently within the last 3 or 4 years.
What were the replacements?
I'm not quite sure. I wasn't able to do the site visit today, so. So there is a history in this neighborhood of replacing those windows. And I do think steel windows in this type of structure is different than what I've seen for a 1940s brick structure.
If it would help for clarification, I do think staff has reviewed the replacement of some windows. And per the north of line policy, they were replaced with, like, I think it was an aluminum clad window. Or another metal, it might have been a solid aluminum window, I don't remember. But we do have something in there
Staff level.
at staff level, if it met requirements for that replacement material. The problem with this permit review was it wasn't a material we could consider a repair rather than demolition.
I think the first part is you didn't allow the documentation on the condition of all of them. I think one of the preservation groups mentioned that steel windows had been restored somewhere nearby, to have somebody have looked at that and commented on, yes, they can be restored, or no, they can't. I mean, I don't want to kick this can down the road, but that's.
The preservation ladies, are y'all aware of a project that's been repaired with these metal windows?
Personally, there was a project at the corner of Maple and Ashley that recently was redone. I don't know as to the operability of those windows, but they were repainted and repaired that way.
Do you know who worked on it?
It was owned by the applicants from 29 Pendleton, working on that property. So they might know a contractor. I'm happy to provide my information to the applicant and help her see if we can find someone.
Is it Latin or Layton?
Latin.
Latin. Miss Latin, do all the windows latch currently, or are the latches
No.
working? Or?
Some of the windows are open, you can't even close.
Okay.
And the winding, well, the plank that you used, you can't even wind it.
Oh, okay.
All of them are broken.
Caleb, is it even possible to get replacement parts for these? Do you know?
I think they'd have to be custom. I mean, I don't think you can order anything sort of off the shelf.
So this is a little different than saying a sash window, that doesn't have any very special parts to a sash window.
And I think that any repair would require full removal of the window probably, and
Yeah.
the repair to be done in a shop, then sort of piecemeal like we could with wood windows.
Okay.
And I'll just say, if we approve demo, we're not approving the vinyl windows. This is purely demo. We wouldn't be approving a vinyl replacement, basically. I'm looking at that house that I think it's 15 Pendleton. And it's it's 2022. I think they've been replaced since then. Yeah. But those were.
So would the replacement come before staff?
Yeah.
The demos?
If the demo is approved, staff would just sign off on a permit, and we'd only make sure that the size of the window doesn't change.
But they could put in vinyl windows?
If you approve demolition, yes. They can put in whatever type of window they want.
So they wouldn't be held to the window list up in that area if we approve the demolition of these?
If you are approving demolition, no. Because you would be demolishing the window
Okay.
or approving that demolition. The other thing that you could do would be, staff doesn't have the authority to replace all of the,
So it's
we
gonna
didn't have the documentation to show that all of the windows needed to be replaced. But that's why we do the site visits with you guys, because sometimes you are able to, much better than us, go and look at it and say, yes, all these have to be new windows because these windows cannot be repaired.
Okay.
So you sort of have two options. You can be giving staff the authority to replace all of the windows, and it would have to be something from that material list.
Okay.
Or you can say you are approving the demolition of all the windows.
So if we deny the demolition, could we say we deny the demolition, but staff, we approve replacement of all the windows?
Yes.
Based on
Based on your site
our
visit.
policies, yeah, okay.
And you would look for a window that matched the grid pattern of these, I would guess.
Yes, that's what we have to do. Match the light pattern.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm more comfortable with that, and
I think if this was like a streamlined, modern building,
Yeah.
I would want to save these windows, but since it's sort of transitional architecture wise, I think we have a little more leeway.
I
Personally,
agree with that.
I agree with that.
okay. Bill?
I will make a motion, for, I guess we need to,
Make
deny the demolition. However, the motion will include giving staff the ability to, work with the applicant on wholesale replacement of the windows. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that's kind of a technical workaround, yeah.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor for denial of demolition with, I'm gonna say a board comment that staff may work with the applicant on wholesale replacement of the windows. Do I have a second to Bill's motion?
Second.
Okay, put the motion to a vote. Kaylin?
Yay in favor?
Daryl?
Yeah, in favor.
Bill?
Yeah, in favor.
Yeah, in favor.
The chair looks to the majority and the motion passes unanimously. Does that make sense? So we've denied demolition, but we had to do it that way so you can work with staff on full sale replacement of the windows. So you don't have to come back before the board. It'll just be working with staff on the material of the windows. Okay,
I can reach out to you and help you and give you information on what we can do.
Okay, so when will I be able to find it out?
I'll have it sent to you by Monday.
Okay. You would mail it to me?
Do I have an email for you or would you like it
Come
mailed?
back up. I can come back down here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I'll reach out to you by Monday morning.
It's best for you to stick with Frankie and not get mixed up with someone else.
Yeah.
It'll be much easier.
agenda item 2, 3 Francis Street. Frankie, if you'll give us an introduction overview of the project, please.
Yes. 3 Francis Street is in North Central Council District 4. It is a category 3 in the architecture inventory, group 2, circa 1920 in the historic materials demolition district. They are also requesting approval for a partial demolition of exterior elements visible from public right of way. This is the property's location on Francis. And I'm going to turn this over to the applicant.
Three Francis Street. For the most part, once you have the title page there. I'm gonna make sure you can hear me. Oh, okay, great.
What was your name?
Walter.
Thank you, Mr. Brown.
Yes, and I'm speaking on behalf of Vonda Fields. Near Beth. Okay, that particular home there, what we're proposing or asking is, and I'm sure anyone made it by prior to this meeting, is I guess because sitting so long, the exterior, especially wood wise and stuff, has deteriorated real bad. And the amount of one side you have saw, we tried to dry it back in as much as possible, just putting coverage on the left side of the home until we could get here. Find out what will be allowed for us to do. And with all the windows we've looked at that are really like decayed and in bad shape, the recommendation we're asking is replace the windows back like the same type style, wood windows, that wouldn't change. As much as possible, the exterior siding look the same. So we're not looking to come in and do any kind of drastic change to it. It's just, make kind of the way it was back the same, except for the exterior on the very back, which you can't really see it from the road, but you have to walk back there. The current roof is flat, or slightly sloped, but since flat. And it's a little bit short, so whenever that was added to the home at that time, ceiling was not as high as the rest of the house. So the only demolition part we're asking for is one, replace all the rotted and decayed siding with like in kind, look you know, as close as possible, like what's there. Replace the windows and just do that same thing, you know, wood type material. I can count on that. Any exterior door that if it can't be repaired, and there's only, I believe, the rear one, the front one, I believe was to be repaired. The banisters you can see there, they've got cracks. You know, you go down through there are cracks, and I mean, I tried to take different angles of pictures to hopefully show the cracks. So those would have to be, you know, replaced. You couldn't glue them back together. You need to actually, you know, so it's more like a solid piece to make sure it's stable. And on the rear there, the main thing we were just asking was to elevate the rear ceiling up to the same height as the rest of the house is. Instead of having a flat roof, it would be a pitched roof. And we're not extending it out the same size or width as the house. It was still, the exterior is going to be the same size, same width, same length, just increase the ceiling height on that. We put a pitch roof to better help also with, you know, water runoff and everything like that. And I believe I'm not missing anything. Yes, as far as exterior. And we did put in a shingle versus metal roof right now, which it's still, I mean, it's in bad shape, but to go with shingle versus metal back to as far as trying to repair it.
On the, you're talking about the shingle roof on the addition? Or not the main house?
The whole house.
Whole house.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
On your, let's see, that was, what side of it? It's not labeled, but it's the, you know, the blank side of the house that you've got.
Okay, the
you've got
left side if you're
yeah.
facing the home.
Yes. You got on your drawings here that you're proposing some new windows on that
Yes,
side. Have you gotten with building department to see if you can do that code wise? Typically, you can't put windows when you're sitting right on a property line.
I did not ask them, well, had a discussion with them, but it was more of they wanted to find out what the outcome was from, first of all, BAR even themselves allowing us to propose adding windows. I do know normally if you are that close, sometimes I think some code fire marshal wise as well that they may, you know, not be as happy, but right now they did not tell me, no way. It was, you've got to go ahead and submit to BAR first and find out what their opinion of that is. Then we got back to the code part of it. I guess it seems like through the conversation, it was, if they just said no way they want to accept that, then it wouldn't have mattered code wise with the rest of it. But I do know generally, yes, when you're that close to the line, if the windows didn't already exist, sometimes it's harder to get them added.
I mean, that side was covered over with the wrap, and so there were no windows there at all.
Existing, yeah. Okay. And that's why that one plan was, as a matter of fact, one you have there right now, yes, that's why I was saying this is where if it made it past here, we would go back then in turn and actually put that into plans for the building department.
Okay.
To do that. And then see if they would allow us based on their codes right now.
One other question.
Yes, sir.
Your existing windows, graphically, you've shown on here with your red hatching, an area bigger than the window itself. Are you planning on enlarging those windows?
No, sir, that's just
just
to have you right, just to make it easier to show that, okay, that's all within inside there. And there is a window schedule here as well that actually tell there's only a couple, well, one window will be gone altogether is what we're proposing up near the front on the front right side. that window we put, it would be.
Oh, yeah,
That one,
noted as infill.
okay,
Yeah.
so it's
Yeah,
true.
infield. Yes, sir. And then there would be one window up there, that same area that gets enlarged. And then.
Which one is enlarged?
You-
Travis, can you go back to that, A8? And Mr. Brown, could you point up behind you on this, which one you're going to enlarge?
Okay, it should be, go to A2, A8-2. Okay, yes. This is the window to be enlarged. This one's infield, this one's gonna be larger than what we're proposing to be larger than what it is, right?
Okay.
And then also, all of the windows are coordinated with numbers. If you want to check and verify all of that, it is, leave that is in here as well. It is on. I think it's here.
A6.
Yes, oh, you just, yeah, there you go. And those numbers coordinate for the Windows schedule with these numbers here.
Yes.
So just like number 4, it says infield, and number 3 right here, it says replace first temporary. But in any area, we only have, I think, one that the size change, but these here are all the windows on the left-hand side of the house. So you coordinate those numbers there with the actual plan, and you will know exactly what windows considered for egress, what windows going to be replaced, which basically all of them are just so dry rotted. You'll be painting over just rotten wood, which you still have to come back and eventually replace them.
Yeah, when we were out there, obviously, we couldn't see the windows because of places boarded up and, so, all of the boarded up windows, you weren't able to get any pictures from the inside that kind of show what condition it was.
And before, I guess what, very carefully, I did have a contractor go with me, the one that
Yeah.
fits the left side of the house. And actually, the windows, when I looked up, there was no centerpiece. It was just kind of somewhat of a frame. The rest was already.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the sashes are gone or,
Right, it's really rotted
okay,
inside.
all right.
So we were very, very careful. We can walk in there. Yes, sir.
Any other questions for the applicant?
So you're planning that the trim and the opening will stay as it is.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I don't know, the windows and the window schedule says these windows are 26 inches wide. Seems very narrow.
That's better. Does seem very narrow.
That's the width of those windows, 26 inches?
Yes, ma'am. From
I
what?
don't think that's gonna meet egress.
Yeah,
It's gonna be not gonna meet your egress, I don't think, but.
Is that the width of the ones that are in there now?
Right. Basically, we went back with what was documented as being there for now.
Yeah,
But as far as, once again, this is to say what we have.
yeah. Yeah.
Not, we didn't go into saying, okay, we're gonna increase this to whatever, we just saying we will replace what's there. But obviously, once we get the boards off and see exactly what we can fit back in, if the building department recommendation is you have to go up to this size now, that's what we will do to make that comply with code. But we wanted to be true,
Yeah, and looking
what
at,
we're dealing with.
and looking at the pictures, they look like they're more than 26 inches wide. So, but
Well-
your plan is to match what's there.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Any other questions for the applicant? Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank
Do we
you.
have anyone speaking from the public?
Henry Antonor Preservation Society of Charleston. It was a little difficult to assess the condition of the windows and the roof on site, and a lot of information was not included in the application. So the PSC would just like to encourage that any repairable material be retained and repaired. And the siding, some of it did look like it was in good enough condition to be repaired as well. So we would just encourage retention of those elements. Thank you.
Due to the Historic Charleston Foundation, we would also like to just request that any historic windows or material that is repairable be identified on site, be repaired and retained. Thank you.
Is there anyone else speaking for the public?
How you doing? Chris Manolenko. I live at 1B Francis, which is adjacent to the project on the east side. I actually just had a question. I don't know if it's for the BAR or for the coating that you guys had mentioned, the new windows. So my wife and I were excited for the project, and as long as it's done correctly. But as far as the new windows, which would be looking directly in our backyard, it doesn't really fit the staple of the neighborhood. Every house I believe on that street does not have a window if it's on the actual property line. So I don't know if that's something for the BAR or if that's for a different department.
Actually, both. We would have to approve those
Openings.
new openings, but I really don't think they can get past building code. Because of I believe it sits right on the property line.
Yes.
You have to be, what, 3 feet? At least 3 feet off.
And I know it's less than that.
Yeah.
So even if we were to approve it, we can't override building code.
Yeah.
So,
Good enough.
thank you. Is
Thank you.
there anyone else speaking? Okay, Frankie, if you'll give us city staff comments and recommendations.
Ma'am, staff had some observations. One, they were requesting, we also thought that they were requesting demolition of all the windows, but also the rear roof and the shutter. All of the siding, the metal roof, porch columns, banisters, and portions of wall. Window size and proportions are character defining features and staff feel they should be maintained. We have no objection to demolition of features on that rear addition. And I did check with the building department and I was told that they could not add windows on that side. So it might be that whoever Mr. Brown spoke to didn't realize how close it was to the property line. I'm not certain. Let's see, staff conditions for approved, in order to be replacement in kind. We would need documentation of what elements are being replaced in kind, and to what extent they're being replaced. And also documentation on the replacement elements themselves, i.e. cut sheets of columns, windows, and showing that they match. Like the previous project, if approved, project must wait 30-day appeal period per ordinance for a permit approval. And any changes in scope must return to the board. Staff recommendation is a conceptual approval with staff conditions.
Thank you. Thank you, Frankie.
But if I could ask for a clarification, or rather a condition from the board. If the sizes of the windows are not in fact being proposed to be changed, the drawing is confusing on that aspect. So I would ask that to be included as a condition as well. So that no one else can misinterpret the drawings and change the window sizes.
All right, Mr. Brown, did you want to respond to clarify anything raised in the public comment or the city staff comments?
As far as the left side of the home, I did talk with the owners to say, hey, if that is something that just will be tough or not even allowed, they're okay with just speaking up for them and saying that they would have no problem with that. Primarily, they just really want to get home restored. Then they're fine. I told them if that was a condition, something just to even get it go through. They understood that and they had no problem with that at all.
Thank you. All right, public comment and the applicant's presentation is now closed. We'll move into board discussion and a vote. Just to first address maybe the windows and the siding, my initial thought, other than those two on the side, is that we just deny that because they want to put back the siding and the windows that are there in the existing opening. So this is where we get into a denial, but it's really because my understanding is they want to put it back, so it's not really a demolition.
One of this would be more of a repair
Yeah,
than demolition. So I think the demolition portion is the rear roof.
Yes, agreed. The banisters, everything else, from my understanding, from what I heard, is that the owners want to, it's a repair.
Yeah.
So for all of those, except for the two windows on the side, which we can talk about. So it's the two windows on the side, the front one, the right side, the front one is going to be enlarged, and then the second one will be infilled. I don't know what anyone thinks about that, and then we can talk about the rear roof. I think those are the two demo requests we're actually looking at.
Okay.
Windows first.
Windows first. We don't know what the windows look like, so we're kind of going off of blind faith on that one. But if we treat that as a repair, then we're really talking about the enlargement of a window and the taking away of a window. The rest of it, I think, would be work with staff on treating the repairs. The side elevation has a really nice rhythm of windows of sizes, so I'm not so much opposed to eliminating the one, but I don't think the other one should change sizes. What you guys think, or?
Probably agree with that.
Yeah. And then as far as the windows on the opposite side, I wouldn't be in favor of adding any windows over there at all. I mean, I don't think you get it past building code anyway, but from an aesthetic issue, and that other houses in the neighborhood that are of this design don't have the windows on them probably. So,
The rear roof.
the rear roof, have no problem with that coming off. It looks like it's in pretty bad shape. The changing of the roof on the main part of the house to a shingle, I wouldn't be in favor of that. I think it should stay a standing seam. If that roof's not repairable, then it should go back with the new metal roof. Because that's a major character defining feature of that house. Many of the elements, and being out there this morning, look like they're repairable. There's a lot of siding. The siding got a nice profile, by the way. There's a lot of siding that's reusable, that's salvageable, and the front columns, they're nice turn columns. I think the one in the middle has been replaced at some point because it's a slightly different size. But it looks like the columns on the front porch, they mostly need, the rock seems to be contained mostly to the bases of them. So the bases need to be cut off and a new base made, and doweled in. So those columns are repairable, I think. Have I covered it?
I think so. Does anybody have anything to add?
Anything to add, or?
I mean, I agree with you. So what I'm boiling it down to, if everyone agrees, and then I want to hear what Kaylin has to say, is that it sounds like it would be approval of demo. Approval of demo of the second window on the right side of the house, and approval of the rear roof, and denial of the remainder of the application because it's all repair.
Because that can be treated as repair.
Right. What we're.
No, I mean, I agree with what Bill said, especially about changing the roof on the house. I would much prefer that to remain a metal roof. And I think everything else is agreeable because, I'm happy to see this house get some love as well, so.
Great. Bill, did you make a motion?
I did.
You want me to read what I?
Yeah, why don't you repeat my motion?
Okay, so I think is this, would this be conceptual or this?
It's demo purview. So it would be approval of
Okay, that's.
demolition of the two.
Yeah, okay, so, approval,
Have a recommendation, have that. I'm sorry, that was a copy.
but it may, you may have think, yeah.
I think that was supposed to be approval with staff conditions. I probably copy and paste it one too many times.
I'm calling it the right elevation, but I think we all know what. Okay, so we have a motion on the floor. For approval of demolition of the second window on the right elevation and the rear roof. Denial of the remaining demolition proposed. Do I have a second for Bill's motion?
I'll second.
Thank you, Kayla. I'll put the motion to a vote. Becky,
Yay in favor.
Daryl,
Yeah, in favor.
Bill,
Yeah, in favor.
Kayla.
Yay in favor.
The chair votes to the majority and the motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Brown. Agenda item 3 is 27 Parkwood Avenue. Frankie, if you'll give us an introduction and overview of the project, please.
Normally you say the motion twice and I have a chance. I got that. I just don't know. I didn't get who was the second.
Kayla. Oh, yeah, I think I'm looking. No, this one's gonna look at the last time. We need to add who's next.
I know, I was trying to update the sheet, but it was fighting me. Okay, 27 Parkwood is in Hampton Park Terrace, Council District 6. It is a category 4 in the architecture inventory, group 1, as it is a contributing structure, circa 1920. It is in the historic materials demolition district that they are requesting opt-in review. So this is opt-in review for demolition of existing exterior elements visible from public right-of-way and conceptual approval for a proposed addition. This is the property's location on Parkwood. And I will turn it over to the applicant.
Hi, everyone. I'm Amber Ahmed, and I am representing the owners at 27 Parkwood. They are Danny and Brandon, who you met this morning. They have lived in this house since 2023. They both work from home and they have 2 kids, and you missed this morning, but she is days away from delivering a 3rd baby. So they, have a pretty imminent need to expand the house. And we wanted to think really carefully about an addition that will work for them both now and in the long term, because they really want to be in this house for a long, long time. So the addition, we're hoping to kind of future-proof. And if we go to more maps. These Sanborn maps show the original 4 square with a single story porch on both the front and the rear. That remained true through the 1951 Sanborn map. And then through the course of history in the last 75 years, you can see the current footprint has been a series of additive additions on the back, some really offensive. This one in particular hangs over the side elevation as it is like a 2nd floor projection over that 1st floor. So that's one of the areas in which we'd like to clean up immediately. But our proposed footprint, we tried to be reminiscent of its original form and massing. It doesn't have a single story. We are proposing a 2nd story addition, but in massing, we're hoping to kind of restore that form. So here you see the context of the street, really broad houses as they address the streetscape. Aerial views, again, lots of blocky massing, and then you can see nearly every house has been added to in the rear. This is that projection cantilevering over this shed over frames onto the existing 4 square. And then we've got an additional hip that lays on top of that. So I'm glad we were able to get there on site and see some of this in person. This image to the right is the north side elevation that I'm hopeful the addition will kind of tuck behind and you really won't even be able to see it. And then this is that projection that I want to just carve right off. Here's our survey. And then proposed site plan. So this you can get a sense of the overall project scope. this is the infill, and these two corners, this one here and this one, we'd like to pull in 6 inches from those existing corners. And in doing so, it will also decrease our ridge height. So this addition will be subordinate in both width and height. As we get to the 3rd floor, this house has a really incredible attic space. And so we've got enough headroom to work with. As I mentioned, they both work from home. So in the short term, we would like, as we extrude off the back, to create a bedroom that could be used for an office now, but then convert programmatically to a bedroom later. There is proposed side lights because as we are going down that corridor, it would be nice to get some natural light, and I did not want to add dormers here. And then from the front elevation, you can see, aside from this removal, it would remain unchanged from the streetscape. This shows you those later additions over unheated square footage here. We'd like to just clean all of that up, make it a single mass along the back. Best perceived in this rear elevation. So the design intent is really to have another hip mass, just, you know, kind of cascade from the original. You have a full agenda, so I'm gonna just wrap with, you saw Kevin Everly on site today. The owners have shared plans with him. He's encouraged them to proceed. They've also shared plans with the Hampton Park Facebook group. They didn't get to the neighborhood association meeting, but there has been no objection as of yet from any neighbors. So I will yield my time and hope
Kevin's
to
not
find-
here.
Yeah, you did tell me that he wasn't coming. But yes, they have engaged with the neighborhood.
Amber, one question. This morning we were talking about windows. Are you still wanting to pursue that?
So they would like to replace the windows. I would note that the current windows are vinyl, a 1/1. They were installed in 2008. So they wouldn't fall under historic materials now. And they would like to replace them.
Yeah, they're not nice windows at all.
They're not.
But the question was going with the 202. I think that was your question. Right?
So I will yield to board for guidance there. Currently, they're 1/1. We've been trying to dig up pictures. Kevin has been helpful in that pursuit, but we can't find any that capture the front elevation to show whether or not they were 1/1 originally. The neighbors just to the right have 2/2. They would prefer 2/2. And so that's what I've shown here.
Are there any sister houses in the neighborhood?
I'm sure there are. Sure there are, because this is a pretty typical style home in that neighborhood. But that isn't one that they were, you know, I mean, if you say 1/1, it would fold that into the window replacement.
Gotcha. Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you. Do we have anyone speaking? Okay, Frankie, if you give us city staff comments and recommendations, please.
So first, we had some observations. They're requesting demolition of rear wall, part of the roof of main house in addition, removal of some rear windows and doors. And I note that while the request is below the ridge and in from side, staff would prefer if it could possibly be brought down a little. Anyway, that condition for approval would be lower the roof if possible. Project must wait 30-day appeal period, and any changes in scope must return to the board. Staff recommendation is approval of demolition and conceptual approval with staff condition.
Thank you, Frankie. Amber, did you want to respond to or clarify anything in the staff comments? Recommendation? Okay, public comment and the applicant's presentation is now closed. We'll move into board discussion and a vote.
I think Amber's cleaned this up very nicely from where it was to where it is. I didn't have any comments.
I don't have a problem with 2/2 either, but I think because staff can't approve wholesale window replacement, would we just make that a board comment that we authorize staff to do that?
A board condition.
A board condition with 2/2, so.
I don't have a problem with the demo. There's a little bit of a disconnect for me on the build back with the massing and the way the roofs are done. And it's, ideally you would have the 4 square and then you would step in. The little pieces of the 1 story are being restored. And I'm not actually, the roof plan that's not actually what's happening. If you look at the elevations.
You're saying the roof plan doesn't match the elevation?
Well, it's like what's happening here. Right, you're stepping. It's like if you look at the plan.
Can you put it on a sheet 8 2.1 and maybe Amber
If you
can provide
look at the plan, it steps in.
Amber was going over
You're on
that
the
this
right.
morning.
Huh?
Amber was touching on that this morning.
Yeah, there's something that's not resolved in the,
Yeah.
in the proposal.
So this, I think, would actually, that common rafter would probably fall at this corner.
Right.
And then this would be the new piece.
But on the other side,
On the
it's a
other
different
side,
length. That's what's confusing me. Like one is shorter than the
on the,
other.
exactly, on the other side, it's almost as if this one, the common rafter wants to be here. And so you're right, and then I need to.
There'd be
But
another.
it wouldn't be a square.
There,
It wouldn't be a square with a simple hip on it.
this is a little longer than the other side, so it's almost like one would have a deeper overhang
Right.
on the
Yes.
back side. But this is the ultimate goal, for it to look and feel as close to this as possible, so.
I think you would have yet another kind of, the hip would step in a second time on that one side, correct?
Yes.
Would be a solution as opposed to just the once on the opposite side.
Yeah, there'd be a vertical line,
Yeah.
that's what you're saying,
Yeah.
yeah. And then it would all line up.
Well, it's whether, my question is, will there still be the reading of the main mass? And I'm not sure because of these roofing, like the first floor pieces are now extending up to be, it'd almost be cleaner if it was the 4 square and then you just stepped in. Like you're keeping these little nubs of first floor, which honestly, you're probably gonna have to rebuild anyway.
Yeah, was there a reason why keeping that kind of half a story on that one side or?
I think the reality is you're gonna have to rebuild it.
You're talking about, sorry. You're talking about this section here,
Yeah,
so.
yeah, the little pieces of one.
So this is a relatively new renovation, and so it just feels horrible to undo something that was 2 years old.
So there's stuff on the inside that you wouldn't want to undo.
Yes,
Is that what
but you're absolutely right in that sometimes it's easier to quickly demo and get it back to its original 4 corners and then start over.
It would be cleaner.
Cleaner is my overall goal, because I do want it to look as close to more.
Because otherwise you would have just this really deep eave on that portion.
And you might lose the essence.
On
of the
this
first
part
one,
here.
the main piece. I mean, you want to maintain the essence of the main piece, is what I'm. And that could be something that they add
Yeah.
on, just that.
So do we make a motion to retain the 4 corners of the house? Which would then make the hips line up all the way around and then they can adjust it accordingly?
I think so.
Did you make a motion, Bill?
It just did.
Daryl.
Thank
you. Daryl.
So I would make a motion for conceptual approval.
It's a demo.
It's a
Oh,
approval of
Demo.
demolition
Okay,
and conceptual approval with some board conditions, so. With board condition to maintain
all 4 corners of the house
historic corners.
That's 4 historic corners of the house.
And did you also want to allow staff to approve full cell window replacement with 2/2?
Yes, that's what I said.
2/2 would be appropriate.
Are there any other board conditions?
Yes.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor for approval of demolition with 2 board
Second.
conditions to maintain all 4 historic corners of the house, and board condition 2 to enable staff to approve full window replacement with 2/2. Do I have a second to Daryl's motion?
Second.
Becky, you put the motion to vote. Bill,
Yay in favor?
Kaylin,
Yay in favor?
Daryl,
Yeah, in favor.
Becky.
Yay in favor.
The chair votes the majority and the motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Agenda item 4 is 10 Parkwood Avenue. Frankie, if you'll give us an introduction overview of the project, please.
Yes, ma'am. 10 Parkwood is in West End Council District 6. It is a category 2, group 1, circa 1930 historic materials demolition district. They're requesting approval for a partial demolition of exterior elements visible from public right of way. This is the property's location on Parkwood. And I'm going to turn it over to the applicant.
Hello. I am Deja McMillan, live at 10 Parkwood Avenue. This house has been in my husband's family for 100 years, almost 100 years, built in 1930. It was his great grandparents, then it was his great aunt, then she passed away and he purchased it in 2016. And if you're wondering why I am here instead of him, it's because I'm the only female sharing a bathroom upstairs, one bathroom with him and our 2 little boys. So I'm the most motivated person in the house. So he purchased it in 2016. The back of the house was already, so it's not the historic material, the original to the house. He thinks that it was done by his great aunt back in like around year 2000. And the windows are also not original. We went to the BZA in November to get a special exception, and the plans that I had originally submitted to Frankie, she worked with me, got the architect to redo them to ensure that the corners are, that they remain, and the addition is done inside of that. So this is my first time doing this, so.
Perfect.
Any questions?
Any
Yeah, well,
questions?
No, so.
Okay, thank you. Do we have anyone speaking?
Kate Utility Historic Charleston Foundation. The HCF appreciates the demolition is concentrated at the rear of the structure. However, we recommend that the applicant reduce the extent of the proposed demolition and retain the historic corners on both sides. Any new addition should be set in from the existing walls and designed to remain subordinate to the historic structure and height scale of the house. Thank you.
Mary Antamora, Preservation Society of Charleston. The PSC is pleased to see that the proposed demolition is being limited to the rear, less visible portions of this property. As this project moves forward, we ask that demolition tuck in at the corners and preserve the existing corner boards as a vertical delineation between old and new to ensure that the evolution of this house can be clearly read. Thank you.
Is there anyone else speaking for the public? Okay, Frankie, if you give us any staff comments and recommendations, please.
So I will explain that I first wrote this as the existing submittal. And then Deja and I spoke and they revised the drawing, so I have a comment addressing that as well. So staff has been, staff also looked at the addition and we were unable to determine a date. Demolition should be built in from the corners. Applicant has been working with staff and has provided a revision that retains the rear corner board, and the demolition is at the rear, only minimally visible from President Street. So it follows the conditions I'm about to read, which are that the corner boards be retained. And then per ordinance must wait the 30-day appeal period for permit approval, and any change in scope must return to the board. Staff recommendation is an approval with staff conditions.
Thank you. Frankie? Ms. McMillan, did you want to respond to or clarify anything raised in the public comment or the staff comments and recommendations?
I think she clarified it, so thank you.
All right, public comment and the applicant's presentation is now closed. We'll move into board discussion and a vote.
Just agree with staff.
Yeah. I don't have any issues.
Becky, did you make a motion?
I'll make a motion for approval with staff conditions. And oh, so right.
Yep, so it's just approval. Okay. We have a motion on the floor for approval with staff conditions. Do I have a second to Becky's motion?
I'll second.
Daryl, put the motion to a vote. Caleb?
Yay in favor?
Bill?
Yeah, in favor.
Okay.
Yeah, in favor.
Daryl?
Yeah, in favor.
Chair vote to the majority and the motion passed unanimously. Thank you. Agenda item 5 is 23 Always Street. Frankie, if you give us an introduction and overview of the project, please.
23 Always Street is in West Side, Council District 6. It is not rated circa 1935 in the Old City District. They're requesting approval for a wholesale window replacement. This is the property's location on Alway. I'm going to turn it over to the applicant.
Down Petrum Roofing and Windows. We're proposing to replace the windows with aluminum clad plug-in window with simulated divided lights to match the existing design and impact resistant glass, and put the windows back exactly the way they are. It will be a white clad aluminum clad exterior. We had originally proposed a vinyl window. Now we're back with aluminum clad exterior. It would be the 7/8 grid to match the existing, not the wider grid. Sample shows both. It'll be a complete pre-hung unit. What she has in there is just sashes inside a 2x4 opening. So we need a new frame, new clad, new sill. Yeah, we'll take it right down to the 2x4 opening, put framing, get it in, and trim it back out the same way that it is now.
And would you be retaining the historic windows as well?
No. If I did that, that would be the way we originally proposed it, to do a vinyl placement inside of that. But to go with aluminum clad, full pre-hung unit, we're going basically down to the 2x4 opening. Her windows are so old and in the unit, everything is completely out of square. I've got to deal with the existing rough openings, put in a jam clad unit, and the sill will be replaced with a clad sill. I probably could put a wood sill underneath it, 1.5-inch sill. That's what is required, sure.
Yeah, I mean, historically, they're usually a 3-inch sill. I didn't look close enough on this one this morning to tell if that's what was out there or not.
Yeah.
Because I would hate to see these picture framed. To me, a picture frame window just screams cheap. You know, it's got a cute detail. You know.
I think what's out there right now is like a 1x4, and that's where the steel security bars are mounted. There's 1-way screws in there. We're gonna have to cut those off, and then we're gonna replace all that trim and put it back right where it is existing, because the siding, we use an oscillating tool so we don't damage the siding. Pull that trim off, pull everything out. I'm gonna go back over there and do a final measurement to put them back to the exact same size that they are now, and then we'll replace that trim with the same trim on the exterior.
Same dimensions as well.
Yes, absolutely. But the sill, what I could do there is I can do a nosing, just a sill, basically a nosing, not a full sill. Because I really rather have that unit sitting right on the 2x4 like the manufacturer would want it. But it would really just be a trim piece.
An applied still.
Yes. Yeah, and that we'll be going back with a nail fin, so that sill would go over top of the fin at the bottom, And then the one by, let's say it's a 1x4 or 5/4 board all the way around it. And put it back the way it is.
And are you planning to reinstall the security screens or?
No. She was, Ms. Jefferson was approved for the South Carolina Safe Home Project, all impact resistant windows. And of course, that's the code down here anyway. So all the impact resistant. She does have 2 awning windows that we're putting back the same design and grid. The other ones are all double hungs. 6/6 grid design. And then we'll, on the inside, they'll all be a factory pre-finished white interior window. And then we're putting up moldings on the inside to match what she has there now, so we can get back to the old paint lines for the queue.
When we were out there this morning, I mean, it was kind of hard to assess the existing windows with the security bars, and then you had storm windows behind those, so. But I could see that at least one of them I saw had aluminum jam liners in them, which tells me that one, at least that one's probably been replaced at some point. Do the other ones have the aluminum jam liners, and do you know if they're original for the house or if they have been replaced at some time?
They're the originals. That last room,
Mm-hmm.
that's the only one that has.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, there's a porch and then there's the inner main wall. And they have like extra windows on it too. So we're doing all those windows also, replacing them all.
Frankie, is this one that staff could approve it, except that it's full sale?
It's wholesale and it wasn't, actually because of the age of it, we couldn't approve the aluminum clad because we're an old city district.
Yeah, it's kind of up on the upper end of the old city district, which is area it reads more like the demolition district than belonging to the old city district.
I agree.
It's kind of a no man's.
It is, I always.
It almost looks like, it's almost like it should belong to the other district.
Careful what you say, it's my neighborhood.
Any other questions for the applicant?
A lot of the other neighbors have replaced with vinyl. It really doesn't matter, but on both sides of it, they're just typical vinyl replacements, no grids. They don't match. She is putting it back the way it's supposed to be.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have anyone speaking for the public?
Planning and Nora Preservation Society of Charleston, the PSC appreciated the applicant's time on site this morning. While aluminum clad windows would be acceptable, the proposed impact windows with simulated dividing lights would not be appropriate for this category for the property per the VAR policy statement on replacement windows. We encourage the applicant to work with city staff to select a true divided light replacement window to match the existing profile if wholesale replacement is going to be pursued.
The Equitalia Historic Charleston Foundation, each staff appreciated the opportunity to visit the site this morning. If replacement is necessary, we recommend that the new windows feature true divided lights rather than the simulated divided lights as currently proposed. Thank you.
Is there anyone else speaking from the public? Okay, Frankie, if you'll give the city staff comments and recommendations, please.
Staff just has observations on this. They are requesting the demolition of all 15 windows. Proposed windows are an aluminum clad, and that was not something that could be approved by staff for this age of a structure. The staff does not object to the removal of the infill windows.
Did you all want to respond to or clarify anything raised in the public comment or the staff comments?
It's a total of 16 windows.
I'm sorry.
16.
Sorry.
That's all.
I will correct my notes.
No problem.
Ms. Jefferson, has this been in your family a long time?
Yes, my father grew up in that house, so they
Okay.
could attend school in Charleston. And my dad was born in 1932. So we grew up there and trying to maintain it for the next generation.
Yeah, it's what we call a legacy property.
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
All right, public comment and the applicant's presentation is now closed. We'll move into board discussion and a vote.
I have So the existing windows in that house are what?
Just a wood sash.
It's just a single wood sash? Okay, okay.
There really isn't any frame or anything.
And one other question, I don't know if True Divide lights, they make an impact, True Divide light, do they? Do you know?
Like Brandon or somebody might, it's very, very expensive. Divide light, I don't even know. if they
Yeah, I don't think I've encountered that.
I don't, I haven't either.
No, the impact, you would have to get, to do a true divided light and get the impact protection in a different way.
Right, right, like plywood or
Yeah.
something. Okay, okay.
Right.
All right.
I guess the first question is, should the windows be replaced? And then, I mean, I couldn't get a really good look at them because of the storms and then the security bars on the outside. But, yeah, going on your word, they're all in pretty bad shape.
Yeah, they're not closing. Some of the vines on the outside are growing right inside the windows, inside the house.
Yeah, I get rid
I
of those
think that
vines.
They're coming down.
They'll rot your house.
It saved me for a few minutes.
So, I mean, assuming that they do need to be replaced. This, to me, this is being a legacy property and also being in sort of a this area is not typical of the rest of the old city district. You know, being like down around Spring and Radcliffe Borough, Canterbury. To me, this relates more towards the demolition district that it abuts. And in the demolition district, something like this would be allowed, correct, Frankie?
Yes.
Okay, so I don't know if y'all see where I'm going.
Yeah.
Yes.
But unlike the other property we were at this morning, that was in the demolition district, and we did not approve demolition because we didn't have any authority over what goes back. Unlike here, where we could approve
Right,
demolition
exactly.
because
Yeah.
we have authority
We
over.
have authority over what goes
Yeah.
back here, yeah. So I guess what I'm saying is, provided that the smaller grid is used and a 3-inch seal, if that's what's on there now, is reintroduced, I would be comfortable with this being a legacy property and the special, you said you got the state financing, state.
I'm sorry.
You got the state credits or?
I got South Carolina Safe Home.
Okay.
They provided a $5,000 grant towards the work.
So,
As long as they're in there.
as long as they're impacted, exactly, which was
Yeah.
what I was kind of giving. It's I don't know about you guys.
I have trouble approving it since I could, like saying, oh, we're gonna wholesale demo windows that we couldn't even see.
Yeah.
I can't do it. It's like a loss.
Yeah.
Every time we lose this much material. It's, if they need to be replaced. I don't know. I mean, typically we would keep to our policies and we would, in this district, that's a certain type of window that's get back. So, I tend to try to move along the policies as
Yeah.
much as possible.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
these are
understand,
policies. Homeowners can come in and they can see what the policy is in their district and understand it and operate accordingly. I'm sympathetic, but it's, older homes, we're not allowing wholesale demo to do impact rated. I mean, we're just not, it's just not what we're doing. But
I agree, except I tend to treat the legacy properties a little bit differently.
I agree too.
And I know that results in a loss of historic material that we would not otherwise allow in this district. But that's where, in a way, I feel as though I'm not creating a precedent other than for other legacy property, which we're slowly losing. So I find this really tough, but I'm falling on Bill's side of allowing this with those conditions.
Over the last few meetings, with legacy properties, we gave some exceptions. And I probably would agree with Bill on this for that reason, and also I mean, it's an impact window and just getting a credit for it, so.
Yeah, and to me also, this is not. It's not what you typically think of as the old city district, you know, to me, like I said, it relates more to the district north of it, the city district. It's kind of a.
That's more important, it's more important, we're just letting those areas go, and we're just letting them go. There's significant whole fabric in these areas that all they would be district.
I would say, to add to Becky's comments, I'm against wholesale replacement, but you know, looking at this house and the sister houses, there's a wide variety of different window types, window replacements. I mean, the front facade is definitely an infill, so I'm more okay with that section of the house, you know, being fully replaced. And it's just difficult because we don't really know, or I don't know at the back of the house, how many original, you know, 6/6 windows we have. I will say also on the other side of the coin too, you know, if this were a Charleston cottage that may be older than what the records say, maybe I'd be more forceful about keeping all the windows, but it definitely reads as a 1920s, 30s building.
To give Becky a comfort level and everything. How difficult would it be to take the bars and the storms off of a few windows just to, I mean, it would mean a deferral on this, but just to be able to go out there, and get a better look. I don't know, it's just a thought. Yeah.
I think I know.
That's up to you, I mean, sounds like you guys are in agreement.
Yeah.
So,
I understand where you're coming from.
yeah,
Yeah, I do.
I think people need to be held to a higher standard to show what's the condition of the windows, to show and prove that they need to be replaced, like going, whether we approve this one or not, like in general, I think, you know, people need to show that the condition, we need to be able to see them, or they need to show actual photos and documentation of the windows, and that they need to be, you know, what can be done with them.
I think that speaks to a point too. This area of town, as you said, is somewhat forgotten. And where do we draw the line? Are we gonna allow material to disappear in this area of town that not a lot of people visit? Or are we gonna hold it to a higher standard and say these are our rules, you know, our policies?
So it's probably just a going forward question.
Yeah.
To me, a lot of this weighs on things.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Like, we wouldn't let you do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess unless your family had owned it for 100 years. Okay, well, I think we have some consensus. We have a majority.
Yeah.
So between Daryl and Bill, who wants to make a motion?
Go ahead.
I will make a motion for approval based upon the window sample, using the narrower grid and reintroducing a wood sill that matches the dimension of what's there now.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor for approval of replacement windows based on the window sample, but two board conditions: one, using the narrower grid, and two, introducing a wood sill that matches the existing. Do I have a second to Bill's motion?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Daryl. I'll put the motion to a vote. Kayla,
No, not in favor.
Becky,
No, opposed.
Bill,
In favor.
Daryl.
In favor.
The chair votes the majority and the motion passes 3-4 and 2 against. Thank you. Agenda item,
Can I ask a quick question?
yes, sir.
I've involved a lot of window projects downtown. If we end up repairing something and we're replacing all the glass, like we just did glass only on their whole house with the condition, I wouldn't do the job because I can't do a good job with everything will so out of square. It's just impossible to repair. I'm from Detroit and I've worked on a lot of those steel casement windows that you've seen. And but when I come in and replace all that glass, how can, then I have to do it with impact glass? Is that correct? Are we allowed to go back with single pane?
Yeah, because it's a repair, you know.
Oh, I see.
And you'd work with staff on that, actually. You would not come before the board if you're just doing a window repair.
Okay, I'm just curious because we have to do impact or hurricane protection. And so I was just curious if we do these repairs, which is really hard to do.
The grant funding may say something specific though, too, that may go against what we say as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Agenda item 6 is 16 Trumbo Street. Frankie, if you give us an introduction overview of the project, please. Get out of here.
16 Trumbo Street is in Charleston Village, Council District 8. It is a category 3, circa 1877, old historic district. They are requesting approval for demolition of addition and pool. Let them go. Oh, yeah. So this is the property's location on Trumbo Street. And I will turn it over to the applicant.
Good evening. My name is Amanda Frizzoco and I'm with Cozy Development. Thank you all for your time on site this morning reviewing the proposed demolition. As you can see, our site at 16 Trumbo is a double lot, and from the survey you can see that this is an existing addition to the main principal house, and there is an existing pool house in the rear and a pool we are also proposing demolition of. The house is 1850s, 1860s, and throughout time it has undergone many different additions on the rear portion. You can see through the different maps over the years. Originally there was an addition that took up the whole rear portion of the northeast of the site, and over the years the addition has changed over time, been reduced. I have additional images on this next slide that show specifically in the rear, in the 90s, the addition extended the whole width of the house all the way to the piazza corner. And then there was this existing 2-story structure that came out towards the rear of the property. You can see from this photo, this was what was used to designate the demolition of the rear of the rear addition at that time. And they came in and added this rear kitchen addition, which is what you see today. It's 1-story kitchen with this kind of bay window feature. And at that time, the 2-story portion was still existing. And then at some point after 92, that 2-story piece was demolished and reduced down to what you see today, which is the smaller 1-story structure off of that bay window piece where the kitchen addition was. And I believe that was done to make room for the pool house and the pool. So being in the 90s, that rear portion is not historic and neither is the pool house. And this just clearly shows what we're trying to do here, which is just demolish this back portion, the pool house and the pool. You'll also notice in these drawings, this is based off of what was discussed in the last meeting, which was the lift, which we got conceptual approval for. So that's why you see the rear stairs designated in that way. Just removing the kitchen and back utility rooms and a powder room. Removing the TPO roof that's existing and the HVAC units. No work on the third floor plan or the roof of the main structure, that is. And then you can see here in the elevation, we are trying to maintain this corner here that you see of the back addition. And we will be utilizing that footprint, which will be in the next part of the presentation for the new proposed addition. On the rear, you can see that on the back facade, we'll be removing those 3 windows. The main principal structure, that is, those 3 windows. And that. Streetscape, and that's it.
Any questions for the applicant? Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone speaking to the public? Okay. Frank, you could give us any staff comments and recommendations, please.
Yes, ma'am. Staff just have observations. We have not seen any documentation on the age of the pool house itself, but we didn't believe it was historic. And we were not opposed to the demolition of the 1992 addition or the house. So staff recommendation is approval of demolition.
Thank you. Did you want to respond to or clarify anything? All right. Public comment and the applicant's presentation is now closed. We'll move into board discussion and vote.
Issues based on the.
For the motion,
Yeah, I'll make a motion for approval.
we have a motion on the floor for approval of demolition. Do I have a second for Bill's motion?
A second.
Thank you, Becky. I have a motion to a vote. Daryl?
Yeah, in favor.
Bill?
Yeah, in favor.
Becky?
In favor.
Chair votes the majority and the motion passes unanimously. All right, agenda item 7 is 16 Trumbo Street. Frankie, if you give us an introduction and overview of the project, please.
Okay. So 16 Front Street, Charleston Village, Council District 8, Category 3, circa 1867 in the Old Historic District. They're now requesting conceptual approval for a new 2-story addition and accessory structure. That is still property at 16 Trumbo, and I will turn it back over to the applicant.
Thank you for that. So the next piece of this is the proposed addition on the rear, as well as an accessory structure in the back corner of the rear of the lot. Again, here is our site survey. And I will skip through the history slides we just went over. So as you can see here in our existing site plan, this is where that demolished addition will be. And we are coming back and proposing a new addition that goes further back into the rear. And we're looking to reorient the pool to the west side of the house and add a accessory structure in the northwest side of the lot. Here you can see, just for comparison, the demolished addition compared to the new addition. The ground floor space will be covered outdoor living, open to the pool area and yard. And above, the new addition will encompass the kitchen, a laundry room, and a guest room area. We will also be extending the piazza to that back of the addition and having new brick stairs down to the rear. And as you can see here, I do want to mention we are proposing to keep that corner of the existing addition and working off of that. And then on the east side, we're coming in from that corner 1 foot 9.5 inches. And we also continue to tier back as the addition gets smaller and smaller. And then upstairs will just be a primary bedroom suite with a roof terrace as well. And then it's a proposed flat TPO roof. And here's our proposed plan for the accessory structure. The first floor will just be an open pool house with steps upstairs where there will be a bedroom and bathroom. And here you can see the elevation of the proposed front facade. Again, maintaining that corner in the rear, but also extending it up with the two-story structure and the proposed two-story accessory structure as well. Here is the rear view. We'll be using brick again around the foundation of the rear portion of the addition. And we tried to terrace it down so it got smaller and smaller towards the rear. There's also the roof terrace there. And we will also have a cornice wrapping around the flat roof above. Here is the view from the west where it is the piazza side. You can see how we're going to continue that piazza across and then down to the yard. And then on the east elevation, just continuing that foundation across, and I will revise from our comment from the last meeting to just have that be flush along that facade on the foundation wall. But then you can see where we come in at this point, we will transition to brick on this massing. And here's just the elevation, including the proposed accessory structure. And a view from the east. And our elevations for the accessory structure, just gable style roof to match the principal house with dormers and some engaged columns on the front. There's our streetscape. Thank you.
Any questions for the applicant? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have anyone speaking to the public?
Utility Historic Charleston Foundation. HCF appreciated the opportunity to the site this morning. Regarding the house, we do not feel that the rear addition is adequately subordinate to the historic structure. HCF recommends that the footprint of the proposed addition be reduced in width to ensure that it remains subordinate. Regarding the pool, HCF is concerned about the visibility of the proposed pool in the side yard and its potential impact on the historic character of the property and vicinity. Pools that are visible from public right of way are generally incompatible with the historic character of Charleston's historic districts. Thank you.
Plenary Anthony Order Preservation Society of Charleston. We appreciate the applicant's time on site this morning. Removal of the existing 1990s addition at the rear of this property provides an opportunity to improve the existing conditions and ensure that a new addition sensitively engages with the historic structure. While we appreciate that the proposed addition is subordinate in height, engagement with the rear of the house should be restudied. In particularly, the addition should be stepped in from the corners to ensure the original form of the house is legible. To this end, the fourth floor piazza should not extend along the addition to maintain the historic configuration of the piazza. Further, while encroachment of the addition on the first floor piazza is existing, this condition should not be expanded to the second floor to preserve the view shed of the historically open second floor piazza and the northwest corner of the house. Lastly, as proposed, the pool house feels slightly suburban in nature, largely due to the proportions and the ganged windows on the second floor. We would encourage restudy of the scale and architectural direction to be more in keeping with its urban setting and Charleston's traditional development patterns. We appreciate the board applicant and the board taking our feedback into consideration. Thank you.
Is there anyone else speaking from the public? Okay, Brian, can you give us any staff comments and recommendations, please?
Okay, so we broke this into the proposed addition to the house and proposed the proposed ADU. So the proposed addition
It's subordinate in height, but it is wider than the historic mass. And while the 1992 addition extended past the body of the historic mass, it does not follow our current guideline. We don't feel that the addition should step into the piazza. And we don't feel that the architectural direction is compatible with the existing house. For the proposed ADU, it is subordinate in height, but not architecturally compatible with the historic house, and we suggest restudying windows. We are also not supportive of the extensive hardscaping for the parking court at the rear. Staff conditions for approval of the addition to the house should tuck in from the historic mass, and the ADU should be restudied for architectural direction. So our recommendation is a deferral for restudy with staff and board conditions.
Thank you, Frankie. Did you want to respond to or clarify anything raised in the public comment or the city staff comments and recommendations?
No, thank you.
All right, public comment and the applicant's presentation is now closed. We'll move into board discussion and vote.
I have a question for Frankie. When we were discussing at our retreat, policy statement for pools, how does this relate to that policy? Would this meet that policy statement?
I don't believe so. You've got visibility from public right of way, and we had written it to encourage pools be placed sort of set in behind the house.
That's what I thought.
We just didn't reference it as it has not been brought before the board in this form yet, so we can't reference that potential policy.
We could.
I think it's just general.
You could reference it as general guidelines.
We're in board discussion.
I'll go ahead and get started. I've kind of got a long list here. As far as the addition to the main house, I think it's very messy looking. I think it looks like a series of additions have been made onto the back of this house. Sort of what we encourage people to undo. So I think the addition needs a total restudy. It is not subservient to the main house in width. However, it is no wider than what's there now. So I guess that's one thing we need to kind of decide upon. It does a very bad job of marrying with the historic house, and that there's no sort of delineation as far as break. I think this is a good example of where a hyphen is really needed between the old and the new. I think the rear gable returns on the historic mass, those need to be retained and worked around. I agree with the preservation groups on the side porch. It should not read as an extension of the historic piazza. Matter of fact, it only increases the width, the perceived width of that addition. So I think it just needs to go away in the restudy. As we discussed on this last app, when this came before us for the main house, do not use expressed piers on the foundations of historic homes. It's atypical. It was never done that way. And so the express piers along the side of the house need to go away. And the drawings for the original house need to be revised to express that mandate from the board meeting at the last go round. I think that the adding of that weird change in foundation wall material towards the back, I'm not understanding that. It would be much cleaner to stick with one foundation material, whatever was be it one material for both the historic mass and the additions, or one material for the historic mass and then a continuous different material for, anyway, there seems to be no rhyme or reason as to the break in the foundation materials on that. I would differentiate the light cuts in the addition from the historic mass. The foundation arches as shown, they don't even have a header course over on, so I don't know how you would build them. the addition is peppered with light fixtures along the foundation wall. Those need to be limited to building entrances only. I agree with staff on the overabundance of paving. I think it needs to be reduced. We're gonna need more information on the hardscape material. And I think since we're on the cusp of adopting a policy statement on pools, that the pool location should conform to that policy statement that's under being written as we speak. As far as the ADU, I do agree that it has a suburban feel to it. And that bay on the front, the slit windows on the side of that bay, if that bay is to remain, they should fill out that space as the doors do on the front. And the dormers also needs further restudy on the ADU and their proportions of detailing.
Thinking about got it.
Yeah, thank you. The one thing maybe we needed to talk about was giving direction on the footprint
Right.
of the addition. I mean, I agree with staff that I think the existing one is 1 story, and but I think it should sit behind, and it should follow our guidelines, and it should sit back behind the main mass of the building and not slide over.
It reads larger than this building
Yeah,
has.
yeah. So I think it should be seated behind the existing building. But some, could be simpler. So
If that's it, is this a deferral with board comments?
board and staff.
I think the addition needs a total rework. I think it's more of a denial.
Denial of the addition.
And
and
deferral on the deferral on the
Okay.
pool house.
Bill, did you make a motion? And I think for this one, we just do with board discussion and board.
I think we're
comments.
gonna have to, unless you want me to give you my long list of.
No, I think that's what,
I know we're not supposed to say with board discussion. What do you say, Frankie?
Since you're asking for a complete redesign, it could be with board discussion, because you're not really asking for specific things to be addressed. You're asking for these things to be taken into consideration.
generally when we're doing, I like to do
Now,
exactly what the conditions be, but
we seem to be in agreement on board discussion, so if they go back and listen to the YouTube, there's no disagreement between us. Is that what we're saying?
Correct.
I'm in agreement.
Okay.
That's right.
All right, I would make a motion for denial on the addition for a restudy in design direction and a
Design direction based on board discussion.
based on board discussion, a deferral on or do you feel like that there's enough right about the pool house to where it can be done with conditions? How do you all feel about that?
I would say so. The massing.
Massing is good.
Yeah.
Footprint's good. I just think it's how you treat some of the fenestration.
Yeah,
So
administration and detailing is.
Like staff said, restudy the architectural direction.
yeah, I would say a conceptual approval on the pool house with more or less a study of fenestration. Right.
Yes.
I was more on a deferral. On that.
Deferral, okay.
I was on a deferral for restudy.
So
Well,
now
and-
conceptual.
Yeah, it would need to come back anyway, so.
So a deferral of the pool house to
Yeah.
restudy the fenestration.
Right, yeah.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor for denial of the addition for restudy of the design direction based on board discussion and a deferral of the pool house to restudy fenestration. Do I have a second to Bill's motion?
Second.
Motion to a vote, Daryl,
Yeah, in favor.
Bill,
Yay in favor.
Becky,
Yeah, in favor.
the chair vote to the majority and the motion passes unanimously. Thank you. And we're gonna take a 10-minute break. We'll reconvene at 6:24.
Bill. Thank you. Let me figure it out here. Look at this on the agenda.
too for. Okay. You said it wrong. You know, my hand's still holding right there. There was somewhere in there that was okay. I never knew you could have gotten off at accident, you know, like. I really like 3 months there, but it was no aisles. I know. It was like. Yeah. And they did it back, like, overall. Yeah, and it's all to work this way, they're trying to. IDI. And sure. Helps. I think I've solved her. Yeah. I think it's hard. Yeah. Yeah. Not for it, but. Statement. Or if you to like be pretty back corner, or say you have a closet folder and then they move it. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And it falls within the 1. And they dispatch proof that they patch proof everything that doesn't have a hard good. Here. Oh my gosh. Like a lot. They just take it there as they will. Yeah, thank you. But yeah, for now, that might be fun. told her, I'm so I can't do.
No, there's nothing delicious.
Those are big. Those are big. Okay.
Yeah, they really are.
Escort me out tonight.
Huh?
Escort me out.
Yeah, we might be mutual. Oh, no.
All right, agenda item 8 is 31 Society Street. Frank, you give us an introduction overview of the project, please.
Yes. Wrong item. Okay. 31 Society Street is in Ansonborough, Council District 8. It is a category 4, circa 1900 in the Oldham Historic District. Requesting a conceptual approval for the demolition of existing steps and portion of the roof, as well as new steps, dormers, and rear stairs. This is the property's location on Society. And I will turn it over to the applicant.
Hi, my name is Lindsay Wigginton. I'm from Technica Engineering, and I'm representing the homeowners, Kate Ralston and Adam Campbell. They are looking to not remove the rear stairs. That was on the agenda, but it's not actually in the plans, just the front stairs. So you can see in the, let me make sure I don't do this. Plan board maps, it actually wasn't there in the earlier maps in 1888, and then shows up after 1900. So sometime in between there it was constructed. It was at some point a duplex, as shown here, and then was converted to a single family residence, maybe in the 1990s. And I think the last owner, from what the homeowners told me, was probably that same owner. And now they are looking to change the front stairs because they are, I don't know if you saw this morning, but they're pretty sketchy. They slope really hard away from the house. So we're looking at this as an opportunity to kind of dress up the front of this house a little bit while also incorporating some of the existing materials. The skirt is painted brick. So they would like to incorporate the brick for just longevity. And then add a little Charleston detail to it with the iron scroll work and the blue flagstone. And then they also have 3 children, so they are looking at adding space in the attic, which is just tall enough to maybe squeeze a loft up there if we can pop some dormers out and give them some head space and room for a light. Yeah, 3 bedrooms, and then we would add the loft on the 3rd floor. This was proposed position of the dormers. It could be moved farther back if the board feels that the view from the street is a little too obvious. So there's room to do that. And the windows that we would be using would be matching the existing windows with 2/2. Roofing materials would be the same, and the siding would be wood, is painted wood as well for what's existing. These are some examples of other similar construction in the same neighborhood with, the iron railing.
Any questions for the applicant?
Where did you come up with the design for the railing?
She actually sent me a picture from another house. I cannot remember the address of it right off the top of my head. Happy to send it to you. And it actually has the original house inspiration photo that she sent me has really heavy stucco stairs on it that kind of would look weird as exactly as she had them for her inspiration on the front of this house. So this is kind of a blend of what she's got plus more of a Charleston look. So yeah, that's our compromise.
Okay.
On E04, there's some red dotted lines along the ridge of the house and the
Oh,
eaves.
Yes,
What's going
I'm
on?
sorry, because in Revit, if you try to put a hole in the roof and it shows up as demo, so it was showing the whole roof as
okay.
demo, because I'm trying to show old versus new. And so that was left over from Revit.
Okay, so
That's
you're
my
not like
apology.
peeling the roof off.
Yes, I'm
Okay.
not peeling the roof off.
Okay, the other thing is, the windows, you're not changing out any of the windows that are there now?
Correct.
Okay,
Just adding them for light in the attic.
okay, because it looked like they were, I mean, just the way they're diagrammed, they look like they're diagrammed as casement windows where they open side.
Yes, again, that's Revit elevation. You don't turn that off.
Okay,
It shows up. They're not,
Okay.
none of those are casement. They're
Okay.
all old double hung.
gotcha, okay, all right, that's all I have.
Any other questions? Thank you. Do we have anyone speaking?
Land Ranch Nora Preservation Society of Charleston, the PSC thanks the applicant for their time on site this morning. While we appreciate that the proposed dormers are placed behind the chimney to minimize visibility, we encourage reducing the size of the dormers to the greatest extent possible to limit impacts to the historic reform. Thank you.
Anyone else? Frankie, if you give us city staff comments and recommendations, please.
Staff observations, we felt that the dormers would be minimally visible. The current stairs match the sister house at 33 Society. And we thought the proposal was too high style for the house. Staff is not opposed to enclosing beneath the stairs, but we were opposed to the stair high wall, side walls and really decorative ironwork. Staff recommendation is approval for the dormers and a deferral of stairs for a restudy of architecture direction.
Thank you, Frankie. Did you want to respond to or clarify anything in the public comment or in the staff comments or recommendations?
Could she do iron railing that were just vertical, that was a little less flashy? With maybe like detail at the handle?
We'll address it in board discussion, so we should give you some guidance if we ultimately agree with staff, but.
I might not agree with staff.
All right, public comment in the applicant's presentation is now closed. We'll move into board discussion and a vote.
I agree with staff.
What on the railing?
The railings.
Yeah. How do you feel about the use of the masonry? I think the masonry gives it a little more substance.
I like the masonry myself.
Yeah, just to add, I think I found a photo of the stairs around 1970. They've been changed. So what's there now is post 1970.
I looked underneath and it's got modern joist hangers and everything. Clearly been replaced.
So to answer her question, I would be more receptive to a simpler wrought iron design.
I think it's also the detailing, like typically, if you look at their precedents, there aren't the big walls or curbs coming up. So just that it would be detailed more like one of those precedents that they're showing.
Yeah.
I personally think the dormers are too wide. Typically in this case, we would allow them, to be the width of the stair or, maybe a little wider, but I think they look very wide. Like maybe the pair of windows with the space in between down below, like somehow that they would orient to the relate to the building.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I agree with that. And the dormers need some more detailing as well. Like corner boards, window sills. on, um,
Is this a deferral or an approval with one chance?
Could do with 4 conditions. You guys think?
Okay.
Yeah.
Bill, do you want to make a motion?
Yeah, there's some conceptual approval.
Of both the dormers and the stairs.
Yes, conceptual approval, both dormers and stairs with the conditions that, condition that the width of the dormers be restudied. Making them narrower, added fenestration on the dormers. And for the steps, a simplification of the wrought iron design. Is that it?
Yeah.
And they shouldn't have the walls at the sides. It's weird.
Oh, the cheek walls?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think it would be better without cheek walls.
Cheek walls?
Yeah, on the stairs.
How about restudy the cheek walls?
Yeah, but the idea of them being brick and having the bluestone treads, I think all that's great.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor for conceptual approval with some board conditions. One, the width of the dormer should be restudied to narrow. 2, to add fenestration on the dormers. 3, simplification of the wrought iron design on the stairs. And then 4, to restudy the cheek walls on the stairs.
Or elimination of the cheek walls.
Restudy or eliminate.
I would just say eliminate the cheek walls.
Okay, so not restudy, eliminate. All right, do I have a second to Bill's motion?
A second.
Daryl, vote, Becky,
Yay in favor.
Kayla,
Yeah, in favor.
Bill,
Yeah.
Daryl.
Yay in favor.
Chair votes for the majority and the motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Agenda item 9 is 110 Nassau Street. Frankie, if you'll give us an introduction and overview of the project, please.
Okay, 110 Nassau Street is in East Side Council District 4. It has a category 4 circa 1885 in the Historic Materials Demolition District. They're requesting approval for partial demolition of exterior elements visible from the public right of way. This is the property's location on Nassau. I will turn it over to the applicant.
Oh, that's right.
It messed up the loop, and if I move it all out of sync, then people get lost.
I'm nosy by nature, so I have to hang out. All right, so I'm Amber Ahmet. I'm representing the owner of 110 Nassau. It is most important to note that this is one of 3 sisters. So 110, 108, 106 consecutively as we're moving south. This 2-story gable and single-story side piazza are still present in each of the 3, and we do not want to touch that at all. You can see what lies behind that is quite a different story. So they have all been modified in some way, but our presentation tonight is asking for the removal of the metal awnings. We would like to convert this door to a window. It would work better for plan, but if that is a sticking point, we will keep it and just make it a fixed door. And then along the back, we would like to have some partial removal of siding and this window. This would become a window. This would be removed. And then this roof framing would be removed. I know that seems like it might be a lot, but what you are doing is handcuffing what I could come back with. It would have to remain 1 story, not to be visible from the public right of way as you're looking down that driveway. So it would maintain its sisterhood integrity. I will leave you with that.
Any questions? Thank you. Do we have anyone speaking from the public? Frankie, if you give us city staff comments and recommendations, please.
Okay, staff observations, are requesting demolition for a portion of rear roof, select doors and windows and the awnings. The rear, sorry, I didn't mean to ask Amber that this morning. You weren't requesting the rear structure this time?
No, I want to deal with that as a different
Okay.
animal.
That was I had it highlighted to ask you this morning and then I somehow unhighlighted it and forgot.
You saw the condition of it, it's hardly a structure at this point.
Structure. Good.
So if you feel comfortable letting it go now, that would be lovely, but I want to know more about.
I mean, it is marked in your aerial.
Amber, are you making a request?
So we had no objection to that.
Then let's keep it on there.
And we also had no objection to the removal of the awnings. So the only conditions we have was that if approved, it has to wait the 30-day appeal period for permit approval. And any changes in scope must return to the board. Staff recommendation is approval. I didn't have with staff conditions.
Did you want to respond to or clarify anything?
No.
Okay. Public comment and the applicant's presentation is now closed. We'll move into board discussion and a vote.
These are all incongruous additions.
It's not with the rear except for the awnings. And what about the door?
I think that's fine.
I mean, that's not historically how it was. That's just sort of a mid-century change.
How about the structure at the back?
It's not much of a structure.
I was gonna say, we did see it on site this morning and I don't think it's much of a structure anymore at all. So I would be okay with that.
Keeps her from coming back.
Kaylin, did you make a motion?
I will make a motion, make a motion for approval, as noted with staff conditions. Did I do that correctly?
Yes. I'm trying to pay. Approval with staff conditions, and then this would, just to clarify, because it's in it, this would, excuse me, this would include the structure at the back, because it's.
But it was in her drawing text.
Yeah, okay. Do I have a second to Palin's motion?
I'll second.
Daryl, with the motion to vote. Becky,
Yeah, in favor.
Bill,
Yeah, in favor.
Kaylin,
Okay,
Daryl,
Yeah.
the chair votes the majority and the motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Okay, agenda item 10 is 29 Pemberton Street. Frankie, if you give us an introduction and overview of the project, please.
29 Pemberton is in Wagner Terrace, Council District 6. It is a category 4, group 2, circa 1941 in the Historic Materials Demolition District. They're requesting approval for partial demolition of exterior elements visible from the public right of way. This is the property's location on Peddleston, and I will turn it over to the applicant.
Thank you. So I brought this, we uploaded the document we uploaded was distorted.
And when we condensed the file, it got corrupted. We did fix it.
Oh, you did? Okay, cool.
Yeah, we've just been running ragged and I don't think I responded to that.
No, that's okay. We know you're.
It's fixed though.
You're busy, don't worry. Okay. So these are the current views of the house. Okay, so we, obviously with taking some advice from you guys, we have minimized demolition to the areas in red, areas in blue are just being covered.
Oh, opposite.
Or sorry, yeah, opposite. Areas in blue are being demoed, the red is being covered. No proposed demo on the front. No proposed on the current roof. Nothing on the second floor. Obviously, this is the section here on the back left of the house, if you're looking at it from the street.
So what I'm looking at, the image on the right,
Sorry, go ahead. Yes,
So you're proposing demolition where the red is that correct?
that's actually gonna be, yeah, covered, but yes, demo.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, left is just the current state,
Right.
just so it shows. Same here, left is the current back, that would be the demo. And then same on the other side, we move this back behind the chimney per recommendation, which obviously we appreciate, and this would keep the chimney fully intact. And there's just our letters of support.
Any questions for the applicant?
These things all run together after a while. I'm trying to remember the very first application, how this differs from the very first one.
Sure.
Or the amount that's being removed.
Yeah,
I know it's less.
it's a lot less.
Yeah.
The first demo was here.
Yeah, right.
And then mirrored on the other side.
Okay.
So basically the alterations to answer your question would be the sides we pulled back as far as basically possible to like maybe use that hyphen idea that you suggested.
Okay. Right.
Any other questions for the applicant? Okay, thank you. Do we have anyone speaking from the public?
Utility Historic Charleston Foundation, per the Secretary of Interior standards, new additions and adjacent or related new construction will be undertaken in such a manner that if removed in the future, the essential form and integrity of the historic property and its environment would be unimpaired. HCF is concerned with the extent of the proposed demolition and cannot support the application as currently submitted. We recommend that the applicant work with staff to provide a clear depiction of the proposed scope of work, particularly in areas identified as being covered. HCF also recommends retaining the rear corners of the building to preserve its historic form. Any new additions should be concentrated towards the rear of the property and designed to remain subordinate to the historic structure. Thank you.
Does anyone else?
Larry Antonora, Preservation Society of Charleston. The PFC appreciates the applicant taking our feedback into consideration. While the reduction of the overall scale of the proposed demolition is positive, we ask that the scope be limited to the rear, less visible elevation and set back sufficiently from the corners to ensure that the evolution of this property can be clearly read. Thank you.
Is there anyone else speaking from the public? Okay, Frankie, if you give us city staff comments and recommendations.
Okay, we have some observations. The demolition does encompass the corners. We don't oppose demolition to the rear, but we would also like to see if the corners could be retained. Encapsulation of portions of the facade, it does count as demolition, as we previously discussed, as that removes it from purview. So our condition would be to retain the corner if possible and limit demolition to the rear. But staff recommendations is approval with staff condition.
Thank you, Frankie. Did you want to respond to or clarify anything raised in the public comment or the staff comments?
I guess it maybe makes more sense to hear your guys' thoughts on it first.
Should we come back up after you guys speak or?
No, this is the only period of
Okay.
time that you could.
Yeah, I mean, my only thing would be, I mean, obviously, we've been here a few times now. Limiting to the back of the house, it just simply doesn't make sense. I feel like everyone could look at that and see that this is a very weird lot in the neighborhood. It's a double lot. The house sits almost directly in the center. Going backwards and keeping those corners has been quite difficult. And just for the architect and for us to try to figure out a way to like utilize the space within the setback. So we went back as far as we could. I don't know how we'd be able to keep those corners without just going directly into the backyard, which would just almost separate the lot into two. So that's really the long story short of how we've gotten to this point is going out on this property makes more sense to most people that we've talked to about this than it does to just go directly back, which I understand is more normal in the neighborhood.
I'm Hannah, I've talked before, Nick always has, but I do a lot of renovation in the neighborhood and the comments going back. I think we're trying to avoid a camelback situation on this lot. And for that reason, we are trying to keep with the historic, preservation of the house. And I think that going back would be a camelback would just be the opposite of that. So that's
Confused. And maybe we're kind of getting out of bounds here, but could you go off the back and then out? So it's almost like a T shape, you know? That way you're preserving
Sure, I see what you mean.
that form of the original house.
So I think, we're under the impression that if we're not asking for any variances on the sides, that why wouldn't we use that?
Yeah, I think
Buildable square footage. But going back into the backyard, you're eating up your backyard. Obviously, everybody likes an entertainment space.
But you're going back anyway if you're taking the back of the house off, right? You're going back
We're
to a
using
certain.
kind of like a place for living area without coming back.
Yeah.
All the way.
Yeah, it's just such a large lot. It just seems like maybe you could go back off the back just a little bit, with just a shallow hyphen, and then go to the sides. That way you preserve the form of the, because that's really the strength of this, is that strong colonial form of this house. Because it looks like you're trying to just come off the sides of the existing building. So look, I just wonder if you could
Yeah, I mean,
come back and they go off,
I like the idea for sure, and we went after your feedback last time, we presented that to the architect, and we just lose so much by going back that extra 4 feet. To your point, I agree, it makes sense, then we could keep that original structure there, but this is so far in the back. I mean, it's the last like 5 feet of the back of the house, so theoretically, if you were to look at the house, to me, and I know I trust your guys' opinion on this, but it would be very obvious that this was the main house, because those are single-story additions potentially that would be in that way back corner, and giving us that extra 4 feet is like, that's a bathroom or the bedroom, like going backwards, we get really close to that 25-foot, I think, setback on the back of the house. And to Hannah's point, you lose any of the potential yard because we would need that space for house.
Yeah, I'm not talking about going back really any farther than what you may be going back now.
Yeah.
With this, it's just you go back to the distance that you're going to go back now, and then you come off to the sides.
Sure, but then we would be, so you're saying keep those two, let's call them the new area, would be behind the house currently, just about a foot, I guess, like in a T shape.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess I agree that maybe would be better for the corners, but that 4 feet of going to the back of the house instead of going right behind that chimney.
But you could also come off back, and then once you get kind of clear of the body of the house, you could still come forward some.
Don't you think that would also give the same? And again, I'm just talking through it with you. Wouldn't that encompass the current structure and also kind of take away from its current? Like that would be the same footprint, but there would just be a little air gap between the current house and the new.
Yeah, I mean, it could be more than just a little air gap. You don't just a little.
Well, we have 9-foot setbacks on that side, so we would, to use that space, to utilize the lot appropriately, like losing that, to make it a little air gap would make more sense, because then we could utilize the space we have. If the bigger that gap gets, the smaller the addition could be.
Yeah. We want to be able to get there.
Can I use this still? Yep. Go back.
No, which they're in the applicant.
Yeah, it's
area.
Well, I guess from the second time to when we came here, I mean, the intention was we brought it back, significant. And then, the two sides being first floor, demos, you're still, engaging those 4 corners of the house on the corners of the brick and the corners of the roof. Like, does that mean anything to you guys?
We did have the board discussion.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Let's move into board discussion so I can have this through. Thank you all. All right, public comment and the applicant's presentation is now closed. Move into board discussion. This is significantly smaller than.
It is, and I really truly appreciate that.
And
you guys have scaled it down.
I have.
You really have.
This is honestly, I wish this was an opt-in so that we can see it, but we can't.
Yeah.
We can just see what they're taking off.
Yeah.
And they are maintaining the historic form. I think you'll be able to.
Yeah. And the additions are going to be 1 story, so
That's,
Yeah,
there, but the camelback thing is not
That wasn't-
possible here because
You don't know.
Well, at least where it connects to the house.
well, even if we did just the back of the house, they could do a weird camelback thing.
Yeah, I don't think
Because we
anyone
don't.
wants to see a camelback on this house.
It is a singular structure, like I don't think we've got another example of structure like this where it's placed on the lot with such a wide lot too.
It's a weird placement.
Yeah.
on the lawn.
I'm struggling with it because we always try to retain the corners. And I was on a 62 Linwood today, talking to someone, and they were in here 44 years ago, and they tried to go past the corner of the house and they couldn't. They were telling me that today.
Mhm.
So I think the BAR is very consistent on that. I don't know. So I mean, I have huge sympathy, but I struggle with going past that corner. Becky.
Yeah, we've been pretty consistent about that.
Yeah.
The thing that makes this unique is that it's got all that extra land to the sides, you know.
Yeah.
Usually the lots, you're kind of forced to go backwards. That's the only room.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a big lot.
They did just smack this in the middle of that lot.
And I do agree, any addition will look like an addition, we'll read as an addition,
It will.
even if the corners are missing.
Especially because it's a one story and I think you're.
But I guess are we okay with not talking about the corners, but the demo at the back elevation as proposed?
I think that's fine. Could we see that? Did we could see that from, oh, what's the street behind? Can you see that?
Street,
8th Street, can you?
you'd be able to, there's a photo in there if you want to take a look, but you would be able to see, maybe the roof line, but. You know, for what it's worth, we are planning 1-story add-ons, so.
Yeah.
I know we did not think, but like, that is.
Yeah.
I'm struggling with this. I could go either way.
Staff's recommendation was demo at the rear with the corners and.
Which is typically what
It's
we're
just
gonna
what
do.
they evaluate.
Yeah. I do believe, I mean, there's a lot of room behind this and you could go off the back and then tee off to each side, you know.
I think what you proposed was not a bad solution.
Even if you teed off to both sides and then the additions came forward sometime. I would much rather see any additions that happen to this house for them to have some symmetry because the existing building has such strong symmetry. But this is not an opt-in. We are only looking at the.
Kaylin, what do you think?
I mean, since I voted earlier on rules and we should adhere to our previous policies and our precedent, then I think that we should keep the corner, even though. I don't know if I would personally miss them.
I'm in agreement with staff.
I just think there's a way to do it. I'll make a motion.
Okay.
Staff. Yes.
Retain the corners limited to the rear.
I will recommend approval with staff's conditions.
All right, we have a motion on the floor for approval with staff conditions. Do I have a second to Bill's?
Second.
Thank you, Daryl. The motion to a vote. Kaylin,
Yeah, in favor?
Becky,
Yeah, in favor.
Bill,
Yeah, in favor.
Daryl.
Yeah, in favor.
Chair votes the majority and the motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Thanks. All right, agenda item 11 is 9 Magnolia Avenue. Frankie, if you'll give us an introduction overview of the project, please.
Nine Magnolia is in North Central, which is Council District 4. It is a Category 4, Group 2 in the Architecture Inventory circa 1935 in the Historic Materials Demolition District. This is one of our up-in properties. You were to come back for preliminary, so they are requesting preliminary approval for alterations to existing home, including elevating the roof and a rear addition. This is the property's location on Magnolia. And I will turn it over to the applicant.
Hi, my name is Matt Sanford. I'm the owner of the property, and last time we were in front of you, we got approval, conceptual approval with some conditions. And so we redrew the drawings based on the conditions, and I believe we satisfied all of them. I did have questions on one of the conditions and sent several emails to staff. This was several months ago and received no response. So I'm here today being new to the process and seeking preliminary approval based on the changes that were recommended and the changes that have been made.
Any questions for the applicant?
Nope.
Okay. Is there anyone speaking? Reservation groups left, so. Me. Frankie, will you give the city staff comments and recommendations, please?
Sure. So we've had observations per the previous board motion, and the addition has been stepped in with the corners retained, rafter tails, front and rear eave, and original roof footprint had all been retained. Staff recommendation is preliminary approval with final review by staff.
Thank you, Frankie. Did you want to respond to or clarify anything?
Yes. I'm a little confused by the process of that. We need to come back for another approval.
Final review by staff. So there's three approvals. There's a conceptual, preliminary, and final. Conceptual is always before the board. And then at times we will say preliminary and final to staff because every project needs all three. And this time we wanted to see preliminary back. So after this, if we agree with it, you would just go to staff for final.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm requesting that we get to do the final review in the permit.
So you don't,
come back.
So the permit is basically ready to go right now, pending this approval from you all.
final. So you got conceptual. This would be preliminary if we approve it tonight. And then you've got one approval left, but it's not before us. Staff will do it.
Understood, but
Yeah.
what is the timeline, and if everything is ready from the permitting side of things, what is the flow for that?
Well, I need them to discuss it and make a motion first, and then if they approve it, I just have to request that a new workflow step is created so we can sign off on the permit.
Thank you.
All right, public comment in the applicant's presentation is not closed. We'll move into board discussion and a vote. Bill?
You won't look at the drawings, the porch roof is still coming off, I guess maybe I remember this a little different. Yeah, I thought that what we had discussed was the porch roof would stay intact, front columns, all that would stay intact. And then, and the front roof slope would stay at the same pitch. But the ridge, front roof slope would continue up to get the height they needed. And then go back down, because right where they started out, they were basically taking the roof off and adding, I think, 3 feet to the walls and then putting a new roof on. And now they're taking the roof off and increasing the pitch. And in doing so, I guess they're having to take the porch roof off to make that happen.
You have a question?
We're not changing the porch.
The drawings say that you're taking it off, that it's being demoed.
That's what the drawings say.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you go?
I don't have a set of the drawings.
I can't see.
There's a clicker up there, you can go to whatever page you like.
Is it 8?
So that 5.
Yeah, go back to 5.
One of our struggles is normally you would show the other submittals too, where we could compare, you know, what was previously approved or not approved. And so now we're having to do it from recollection.
Yeah, honestly, one of my struggles has been that the communication has been.
There are two sets of drawings in this. We're all
At the desk level and
Those
through
also-
emails, it's been, I have not been able to get responses back.
There's two sets of drawings.
Come in multiple times to talk to people. And in this last go around, I had to go upstairs and I forget the woman's name to get the woman who runs the whole program to get a response from the staff. And I was told that I had a complete package. So I'm trying to work within this. But I can only, I'm not, I can only do what I'm told I need to do.
The other
But I was told that I did have a complete package. And we are a year into this process on a house. If you guys remember, it's like the back of the house is falling in. And so, like I said last time, I'll do whatever you guys want me to do, but I can't, like, in any partnership, I need a partner on this, and I don't have a partner on this right now.
I have a question, because this may be the drawing set, so.
There are also two sets of drawings in Dropbox.
The one that I am looking on the image overview, I don't think says that this is gonna be removed. Although now I can't blow it up on my computer. So I think that's the old drawing set that might be also, we have a Dropbox and then there's the public one. So I don't think that the porch is.
Smaller file, maybe it's a smaller file or
Hang
something.
on 1 second, let me take a look. I think he just had his 2 drawings that were in there and we combined them.
My 5 in the image overview is different from this 5.
Yeah, mine is
Yeah,
previous.
there's 2 files.
Mine's previous proposed instead of.
Is that the 5 you have on the screen?
Yeah. That's the one.
Yes, this is it. This has got, okay.
Combined file.
So now we've got previous and yeah, this is what I was looking at.
Good.
And I don't think that shows that the porch is being removed.
Maybe it was the other set, because like I said, there are 2 files in here.
Yeah, I was looking at the other set.
And you saw in there also, Darryl, where it says calling for it to be removed?
Yeah, on the other set.
Yeah, okay.
Which is, okay,
And visually,
Don't-
you can tell. You look at it.
Yeah.
look at this set.
Right, visually.
I mean, I don't have an issue with the design. I think the design's fine. It's just, are we comfortable with that amount of historic material going away? And that was if they were taking the front porch off and rebuilding it, it was what I read in that other set.
So based on this, they're just extending the ridge up.
They're, they are actually doing a new pitch,
All right, so they're increasing the pitch.
increasing the pitch, so that means wholesale removal.
Yeah,
roof.
yes, yes.
I thought that we were saying before that you would just extend that existing pitch further.
It would just go up higher.
Yeah, so your ridge would be further back, and would that give you the clearance in there without having to wholesale remove the roof?
I believe you asked for the pitch,
I
to
think
the
it
ridge,
should look-
not to move
Yeah.
further back.
Yeah,
Elevate ridge beam by increasing roof pitch. That was a staff condition that we adopted, so I think that's why he did that.
Okay,
Because that was what was done at the opt-in across the street.
Yeah.
okay. Like I said, I don't think I don't think it's bad. It's just, if everybody's comfortable with that amount of historic fabric going away.
I think the applicant, I think he did what we asked him to do
Okay.
in the last one.
I think you're correct.
That's why I was a little surprised. I thought, well, not that I'm an expert at reading plans at all. I'm the lawyer on the board, so, but I do think he did what we asked at the last meeting. This is an opt-in review, and we did struggle with this one because the two houses across the street, I think it's two houses across the street, maybe it's the one. I thought there were two that we approved a change in roof pitch on.
I know of
and-
one.
There was one across the street. There might have been another one elsewhere.
I mean, I think the new roof pitch is actually looks better today. It's just, are we okay with that amount of material?
It appears we've asked him to do that.
And I think because this is an opt-in and we've been able to guide and also I do think, again, he did what we asked to do at the last meeting. And I do remember this was a little bit of a struggle. And I think if the house across the street, we had not just approved it, maybe we would have thought a little bit differently. But this is one I am on board with. I'll just say that. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad we fixed the plan mix up because I thought of it.
Can I make a motion?
Yes, you can.
Can I make is this for conceptual approval?
This is for preliminary approval.
I'll make a
with final
motion
review by
for
staff.
preliminary approval,
With final review by staff.
final review by staff.
Did you also add in there that the approval does not include the removal of the porch roof
Yes.
alterations?
Should we say based on like which of the plans? Because if these were a combined plan set,
Based on the latest set of plans.
based on the, so it's a preliminary approval of most recent plan set,
Yeah, dated 7/28/26.
dated 7/28,
Yeah.
with final review by staff. Okay. All right, do I have a second to Daryl's motion? Thank you, Kayla. I put the motion to a vote. Bill,
Yeah, in favor.
Becky,
Yeah, in favor.
Daryl,
Yeah, in favor.
Kaylin.
Yeah, in favor.
Chair votes the majority and the motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
And that makes sense. You don't come back here. Work with Frankie.
All right, I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, agenda item 12 is 141 Spring Street. Frankie, if you'll give us an introduction and overview of the project, please.
What was the date you said was on that? I wanted to make sure.
7/28/26. Daryl, that's right.
Yeah, 7/28/26.
All right, 141 Spring Street is in Canterbury, Elliott Borough Council District 6. It is category 4, circa 1852 in the Old City District. They're requesting conceptual approval for a new 3-story single-family residential building. This is the property's location on Spring Street. And I will turn it over to the applicant.
Thank you. Good evening. Nice to see you all again. I'm Anthony Sissel, representing Scott Kay, the owner of 137 and 141 Spring Street. I appreciate your time tonight. As per usual, I brought you something mildly complex. So everything I try to walk through it.
There's less public comment this time.
What's that?
There's less public comment.
There seems to be less public comment this time. So as you can see, the property is on Spring Street in between Pleasant and Ashley Avenue. It's a very interesting property. It was at one time 3 historic lots that had various structures on them that were later combined into one consolidated master plan. You can see in 1902 here, there was sort of two structures on 137 and 141 that sat right up at Spring Street. And then very uniquely, the structure of 139 was set way back in the lot, which produced kind of an interesting condition. And at one time, there was a tenement building on the rear of 137 that's now demolished. What happened over time was that because of that space that was left in front of 139, Smaller commercial buildings were actually infilled in front of that house. There was a grocery and an auto shop. The auto shop structure is still there. The grocery was demolished at some point. So a historic photo of when they were both there, you can see 139 in the back there, and the auto shop and the grocery there. The properties were combined, I believe around 2020, the dates in the package, to create sort of a consolidated master plan. The overall property now does function as an STR property. It currently has 6 units on it. It is by land area, it's entitled for 8 units. So the owner would like to add a 7th unit. It's not feasible to add an 8th unit. There's a circulation, there's a driveway that comes in to the west of 141 Spring. It sort of circulates around the back. There's parking in the back, and then it exits kind of out in between the commercial building and 139 Spring. One sort of limiting factor with that back part of the lot is that you can see in the aerial, there's a massive live oak in the back corner of the site, like one of those grandfather type live oaks, and it's got kind of a dog park area that's been made around it. So the goal with the placement of 141C, as we're calling it, was to try to essentially preserve the circulation and really preserve the site plan the way it is. And so there is an area of parking right behind 141 Spring, and that's where we're proposing that the new structure would go. The other interesting, well, I'll go through the context photos here. You can see because of the way that the commercial building was added to 139 Spring, the area that we're talking about is very difficult to see from Spring Street. You really have to kind of walk into the driveways to start to see that part of the site. This is kind of the area that we're talking about. There's currently 4 parking spaces in the area that we're talking about. We do need to maintain the parking. We need to maintain 3 of the spaces. And there's another interesting factor to this is because the lot would now go over 6 units, this particular unit has to be completely ADA accessible. Because it hits that threshold for the units on the property that has to do that. And so we do have an elevator as part of this property. And because it's transient lodging, it can't be like a Lulu lift or a residential elevator. It's a full-on ADA accessible elevator. And the whole unit has to meet commercial ADA standards. So that's another kind of complication of the project. We looked around sort of the neighborhood to see, as you all I'm sure are well aware, these really deep lots, particularly on Cannon and Spring, it was very common to add additional buildings on the behind the street facing historic buildings. It's been done kind of all up and down the Spring. By zoning, the site is allowed to do a 3-story building behind it, and in many cases up and down Spring, that's what's been done behind the 2 and 2.5-story historic buildings. I pointed out 3 just within a stone's throw of our site. That did that. We sort of, based on comments we got from BAR staff at TRC, we intentionally sort of self-limited ourselves to 2.5 stories to make sure that we could keep the structure in line with the height and massing of the historic 141 Spring. So we designed this not as a 3-story structure, but as a 2.5-story structure with the upper bedroom being in the gable of the roof. So this was the plan from TRC. That would be about TRC. It really maintains the overall site plans. Then we sort of zoom in. This is the ground level of the property. You can see what we're trying to actually create one of those 3 parking spots as an ADA space immediately adjacent to the elevator. It's somewhat difficult because the spaces have to remain angled. They can't back straight out. So it's a little complicated. And then as you go up, the main living level has to be 100% ADA accessible. So that's what you're seeing here. The pedestrian stoop enters at the south end of the building and sort of wraps up around the corner and enters kind of through what has sort of the appearance of a side porch. And then the 3rd level is a 1/2 story in the gable. And we're really sort of at the minimum for ceiling heights and things in that space. We've worked very hard to try to keep it as low as we humanly possibly can. And it's the roof plan. This is the east elevation. This is sort of if you were on the exit part of the drive, you would be driving past this longer elevation. And then that's the elevation. That's really the main this building, because of its location, it's the main experience of it is actually when you're in the rear of the property, like in the parking lot. You really don't see it from Spring Street. So the main elevation in our mind is sort of the elevation that faces into the open part of the back of the lot. So you see that on the right there. The intent is to have sort of a stucco base, a stucco over masonry base with essentially a wood construction language above it. And then on the sort of in part of the drive, this is the long elevation you see where you would pull under that parking area. One thing to note here, I was actually discussing it with our neighbors, the Waldens, before earlier today. They had to leave. They were here earlier, but they had to leave. And one thing I've talked to them about is sort of the building, the sort of more public areas of the building face into the site. And then the side that faces their properties, like where the stair landing is, and some of the the bathrooms and things that are less active are what faces their property. We did present this project to the Canterbury LA Borough Neighborhood Association. We had a unanimous vote of support there. They were supposed to write a letter to send you all, but I know they are also going through a leadership change the last like 2 weeks. So it's possible that never got sent because I didn't see it in the comment thing. But the Waldens were at that meeting as well, and they were part of that vote for support at that meeting earlier this month. This is it in context. You can see the 141 Spring has sort of the historic portion, and then what we believe may have actually at some point historically been a historic addition to that house. That sort of the roof line steps down. We have worked very hard to try to stay within the roof line of the main gable on Spring of that structure. And then this is it from the other side. The other side of 141 Spring is largely enclosed and has the commercial building up against it. And then this is sort of cutting east-west. So this is actually the Waldens residence here. Then these are the other two structures on the current site. The Waldens residence is actually kind of a bigger scale. And then this is sort of what we imagine as the primary experience of the building is really when you're in the back of the lot, kind of looking back towards Spring Street. So you see the stoop sort of wraps up the corner of the building. The parking level is open, articulated at the base with a water tank at the base of the stucco. And then it's a very traditional wood language for the upper levels. This would be if you started to enter in the entry part of the drive. All the way in. This is what you would start to see as you got further back in that drive. And yeah, I think that's it.
Any questions for the applicant?
I got one. And so the purpose for parking underneath the house is to meet the parking calculations, is that?
Correct. We have to maintain the parking count.
Are you at your minimum that you would need underneath there to park? Is there any reason you can come down a little bit? Or?
So that's the only, I was thinking this because I did see, I think it's HCS letter they sent you about the height. We are pretty much at minimums everywhere. We are currently assuming a van accessible ADA space under there.
Oh, yeah.
There is an ADA space currently elsewhere on the site. And if the city's ADA coordinator agrees that could meet the van accessible requirement, we might be able to lower that level a little bit. Okay, there.
And it's not in a flood zone?
It is not in a flood zone, no.
Yes, could you clarify? I'm a little confused by all the different site plans. Looks like there is site survey and photo key. There's sort of the massing of it on the left and right, which is different. And then the later site plan doesn't actually show any dimensions of like the footprint and how it's seated behind the existing building.
So
There are these two, but these two don't seem to match the later one.
Right, so this is just a diagram for location purposes. You go to the TRC plan. The TRC plan is really sort of you can actually see it underneath there, the footprint of the building. It's underneath that blue box. So this is what was reviewed and approved at TRC in terms of utility layout and parking and.
With
you know,
no dimension to the lot lines or distance from the existing building or anything like that.
So it does have, I need to sort of zoom in, but there are dimensions from the drive there. I think you're correct, that's dimensioning the drive. There's a couple more feet beyond the drive there where there's landscape, to the lot line. And then this zoom is really the something.
This is footprint on the site plan doesn't reflect like the stairs and. I mean, this just shows a rectangle versus the more complicated footprint that's actually shown on the ground level plan.
You're correct. The TRC plan hasn't been updated with the more developed building plan.
Mostly I ask is the relationship to the existing building and how it sits behind it. I can make for more discussion.
Any other questions?
I think so.
Thank you. Do we have anyone speaking from the public? No. Frankie, you'll give us any staff comments and recommendations, please.
Staff have observations, roof is lower than the ridge of the historic house. And the architectural direction is in keeping with Charleston. OLB are typically does not approve structures elevated to park under. This is located at the rear of the property and does provide the ADA accessible parking. Therefore, staff recommendation is a conceptual approval with preliminary and final review by staff.
Thank you. Did you want to respond to or clarify anything in the staff comments and recommendations? Okay. All right, public comment and the applicant's presentation is now closed. So move into board discussion and a vote.
The reason I ask about the site plan is one of my buildings is shown as the precedent. And it was a very long battle to see that little guy behind the existing building. And the other precedents shown are also seated behind the building. So the citing the site plan in this kind of second structure, I think is extremely important. And how it relates to the front building. So that's why I'm surprised, like that footprint on the site plan doesn't match at all with the actual footprint of the ground level plan. So that's my struggle with the citing, which is where we start, which is where I always begin. So
Anthony, is the one parallel space, is that a required two?
Correct. Yeah. That's an existing parallel space there.
So there's no way. Are you thinking about, does the building need to slide over or it's more behind the building?
Well, typically we make it, they're seated, if you look at the precedents, they're seated behind the existing building.
Exactly.
And, in the case of 154, they wouldn't even count the porch. So it's seated behind the main mass. So I don't know how we currently feel about that, but typically we ask that those footprints are not seated behind the existing buildings.
Did you have a clarification to make based on something at TRC?
Well, I was just gonna say 141 actually has a jog in it at the very back of it. So our western facade is in line with 141's western facade. I think that my site plan may be I should have probably zoomed out further in that drawing. Yeah, so it's a little difficult to see here because it's like you can kind of tell here. So the 141's porch structure is actually here and we have them in line with the building. But if there's a big step back here, where there's like a garden, there's like a fenced area and a garden. And I apologize, I should have zoomed out further on my ground.
It's a beautiful building you drew.
It is, it's very nice.
It's presented well. My biggest struggle or only struggle is we've been so strict on the raised
Yeah, that's what I struggle with.
Does it affect with, I mean, so most of what we do is residential, with this being commercial and the ADA requirements, is that something that we could say we're not setting a precedent here because
It is residential though.
Um,
The thing to hang the hat on is the ADA thing, I
Yeah.
think, but.
we don't, that is not a consideration with all the other projects where we've said, no, you cannot increase the height to put parking infrastructure.
Normally, we say you can park under it if it's new construction and FEMA's requiring it to go up enough to where it's
That's
just
right.
bonus space, but this is pretty high ground here. That's what I struggle, that's the part that I struggle with.
That's my only struggle with the whole project. I think,
I think it's a really nice building.
but now I understand why they did it.
Yeah.
They needed, without parking underneath it, you couldn't build a building. Because you couldn't meet the parking density for the lot, right?
Yeah, and if there were any way, that you could count that other space as the van space, and this could come down a little bit, I think it would help.
We could put that in.
Yeah.
That's the existing ADA space right
Yeah.
there. The
Okay.
question is, because you have to cross a drive.
Yeah.
So we have to get a clarification from the
Yeah.
ADA coordinator for the city on whether she would set that as a van.
Is that still Janet?
Yeah. She gave us a lot of initial help on this, but it was in question. We didn't contemplate before we submitted this.
Okay, what do you want to do with it? I mean, we could make that, I think we could make that as a condition that, not approving it as is, but to explore whether that other space can be the ADA space so that they can lower or not.
I walked this and it's a pretty fair distance back there on the street. And I know that most of the ones that we've dealt with parking under has been a main structure that's been closer to a street.
Which is true. All of them probably.
Yeah.
I mean, even 139 is hard to see. I mean, it's visible from the sidewalk, but like you wouldn't notice it unless you're looking for it. And I can only imagine that this would just blend in.
You're not gonna get
But Becky did make a good point.
Anthony, if you look at the site plan, there's some space as you're leaving the property, the exit drive would be to your right.
It's right here.
What's in there now?
It's a walkway to the porch of this.
Okay, because I was just wondering
I know
if you could pick up your parallel there.
I know where you're going.
Would then push the building over, make the parking underneath less visible.
I actually
Yeah.
tried that, and TRC said, no, you can't
they
park
won't.
that walkway
Okay.
to the
Alright.
porch of that other structure. Cause that was one of the first thing I tried, was like to get that parking spot, and they were like, no, that's a walkway to a porch, you can't put a car on top of it.
So much for that idea.
Halen, what do you think?
I'm not opposed to this, but I also think, unrelated to the design, I think I've got goodwill towards this property because what 139 was a burned out husk in the neighborhood for quite some time and was sort of brought back to life. So there is good preservation work happening on this lot.
And I like hearing the applicant tried other options.
That's a hell of a span for that opening too, but I guess you can find something big enough to.
Yeah, we're looking at that. The other thing, if we can get a little movement on this ADA space requirement, I would actually like to add additional columns in that opening. But I agree, it's from a design standpoint, I feel a little challenged by it.
Do we have some consensus on moving forward?
I'm leaning in
I'm okay.
favor.
I think I'm okay because of the distance back.
That is one thing I underestimate on this street too. I'm thinking of just stuff we've approved and I'll go by and like want to see it and realize because these lots are so deep on that street that sometimes things we've approved I really love, I can't really see them
I mean, what pushes me over the top to approve it is it's just, you did a beautiful building. And most of the ones that try to raise the buildings higher than they should be, they never look good.
Right, and this does, it looks appropriate.
And the relationship with the pedestrian is there, you know, it's not like some other ones where it's just lifted in blank wall.
Do you want me to make a motion?
I heard you make a motion.
I heard it makes sense.
Make a motion for conceptual approval with, were there staff conditions?
And we're not.
No, I'll make a conceptual approval with preliminary and final by staff.
Thank you, Daryl. We have a motion on the floor for conceptual approval with preliminary and final review by staff. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Bill. With the motion to a vote, Becky?
No, thanks.
Taylor?
Name better.
Daryl?
You in favor?
Bill?
Yeah, in favor.
Chair votes the majority and the motion passes 4-4 and 1 against. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Agenda item 13.
Conversation, I appreciate it.
Agenda item 13, 240 Calhoun Street. Frankie, if you'll give us an introduction and overview of the project, please.
240 Calhoun Street is in Radcliffe Borough, Council District 8. It is category 3, circa 1886 in the Old Historic District. Requesting preliminary approval for exterior alteration, including piazza stair, ramp, fenestration changes, fencing, and easement. Is the property's location on Calhoun Street. Turn it over to the applicant.
Thank you, Frankie. Neil Stevenson, I'm the architect, for the project representing the owners of 240 Calhoun Street. This is, we actually, received conceptual approval a while back, and then the project took a little nap. And now it's back. And there was a few things that in the previous project that we were asked to study, but the project has changed a little bit. And you'll see, one of the things, this is a good representation. We were proposing, and this was actually from the board's guidance, to restore the window that's here. Currently, there's a door. This building's had quite a few renovations in its day. Currently, there's a door here, and then they turned this window into a big storefront window. Now, this building's been a florist for 50 years, and the proposed new use is a florist. So, so right now, there's currently this piazza stair. We're proposing to get rid of it and restore the stair. The last proposal, as let's say, actually, let me just stay on this for a second. So we're proposing to place the original location of this window with the matching the details from the building. And you can see other buildings in that neighborhood are detailed very similar. But to do that, we were like, okay, well, we don't want to replace this window, but we're going to propose to elevate the head so that at least looks right. We're also proposing this little awning here. I think the biggest proposal here, change from the last proposal was that we were we had previously, there's an apartment upstairs and there's a business downstairs. We were proposing before to come through this back area and have a stair come down. We were trying not to, they want to create a garden. This is a double lot, so it's a pretty big lot. And they wanted to kind of take use of the rear of the property and not have the tenants upstairs intermix with that. So we were taking the stair down, I don't know what happened here, but the stair dives down the side of the building. Now, since it's woken up again, it's been determined that it's real important for the entrance of the second floor to be on this level, and through this piazza. And so instead of coming up to the back, we're now proposing that we take this area here, take a few steps down,
and then take it through the back, through to the back of the property. We also have a handicapped ramp that's here and this funny little cantilever that it's just funny looking. You can see it here. So our ramp is underneath that. The stair comes down. We're trying to drop the stairs as much as possible to create as little impact as possible. It is set back. So it's not like in your face, but what we get out of it by doing this is we get rid of so we get rid of this here. So I think that's kind of a big win, but since, you know, I don't know, we're basically gonna clean up the back of the building by removing all those stairs. So that it cleans this up. And I know this is like kind of a mess already, so it kind of helps offset the impact of that cantilever, which is awkward. We're also gonna replace, we're taking all of this electrical meters and stuff like that and putting in the back, which I think is gonna be nice and clean up the building quite a bit. But those were the things we were asked to study, and I see, again, we have changed this a little bit, so I'm not sure how much the conceptual approval is still bearing on this proposal, but it's got the basic premise behind what we proposed before and was conceptually approved, but it's also changed a little bit, so.
Any questions for the applicant?
So the existing storefront window, that's gotten taller, right? Or has it? Yeah.
Was that the original? Sorry, I know the window was original, but the floor is like elevated. It's, yeah, it's.
We are in a flood zone, pretty bad flood zone. And we are proposing, most of this project is like a restoration. Almost all the windows have to be restored, but it's gonna be in kind. A lot of the siding is in bad shape, but it's gonna be restored in kind. We are proposing, this stucco's all just falling apart. We're proposing to remove that stucco and point the brick and expose the brick if it's in good enough shape.
Did you answer your question? I interrupted.
Yeah. And I think that's I think it looks a lot better.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Oh, I did have one other question. And it's back to windows. It looks like, when I look at some of the photos, like the east side, it looks like there's a kind of a menagerie of windows. But you've got a consistent 2/2s everywhere. So are you getting rid of some of the windows and replacing them to get some continuity?
There's been discussion of whether we should, I know, because there's quite a mix here, and it's funny because this whole block is kind of mixed with windows of 6/6 and 2/2s and 1/1s. I don't know if we've had. There's been discussion, I think, when we redo the windows, it would be nice to keep them all consistent.
It would be, yeah.
I think the 2/2 was discussed, but there's also 6/6s, and I'm not sure exactly what's.
What was this built? I'm trying to remember what.
Well, there was some discussion about that. It's in the Sanborns show it's like early 1900s. But then there's some other.
86 is what.
There's some other like 1902. You'd see it's a double lot here, and in 1902, that there was nothing. I mean, there was a building back here, and there was a building on the corner. This building shows up in 1944. I mean, we suspect that it's like more like 1904 or something.
Well, regardless, I think even if it's 1904 or 1886, I think 2/2 is appropriate.
Yeah.
For that period. And it looks like you're using on the addition portion that cantilevered, and the area below you're switching back to the 6/6, which I think that also makes sense. That's an addition. Okay. No, anything else?
Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Great.
There's no one speaking. Frankie, if you give us city staff comments and recommendations, please.
We just had observations that, per previous board motion, for our windows have been restudied and the stair placement and orientation have been revised and a new awning has been proposed at the piazza screen. Staff recommendation is a preliminary approval with board conditions and a final review by staff.
Okay, Neil, did you want to respond to or clarify anything?
No.
All right, public comment in the applicant presentation is now closed. We'll move into board session and a vote. Our big issue, first time we saw this was the stairs. There was
Yeah.
a lot of discussion about the stairs.
The first go around, there was a lot of steps. They didn't come off the back and they were
Yeah.
kind of around the building.
Yeah.
So I think the stairs are much better. And I think you're using the stairs as sort of a good way to kind of hide that awkward cantilever, with the ramp tucked underneath the cantilever. So I like all of that. I like that you've raised the storefront window so that you could put a new window next door to it at an appropriate height. So I think all that works out well. I would like, since the building has like 3 different types of windows in it, I would like to see some consistency. And I think you brought some consistency to it. So I'm comfortable. I don't know about you guys.
Is the little building in the back included?
The greenhouse? Is that, are we looking at,
Like future project.
There is a kind of a makeshift greenhouse there now.
we've seen that.
Yeah. If it's still there, I don't know. The last storm might have blown it over. We are proposing to remove it and come in back with a prefabricated, pre-designed.
Is that the subject? Are we looking at that tonight?
No, we're not.
Okay.
It hasn't been chosen, selected,
Okay.
designed or anything. It's just a placeholder for the future.
Okay, so that would come back before us. Okay, so no.
And just one other thing, it's just a small tweak. Looks like maybe you need a center stile on your shutters. And I always like to see that just below the parting rail. Yeah, because that's typically where historically it would have been, so you could reach the latch.
On the rendering, you were underpinning the stairs with, I don't know, probably 1x. And on the elevations, you're not. Were you planning on doing that?
Underneath it, you just fill it in.
Yes.
You can't.
Ultimately, we'd like to create a surface to grow plants up. So yes.
I think it's needed.
Which would be fitting.
What's going with the stairs, like compared to what's there now, that was like simple, just. I just struggle.
But I can understand wanting to make that piazza usable too.
What?
I can understand making that piazza usable, or getting rid of the piazza stairs.
So we'll question just procedurally too. So this, it was conceptual, it came back to us preliminary, but things have changed. Is this another conceptual, or are we comfortable moving this if everyone agrees that this is preliminary? This would be a preliminary approval. Is the application complete enough that this would be a preliminary approval?
I think with conditions.
Okay.
Daryl, what were you saying about the underside of the stairs? I missed that.
I was just saying that, on the rendering, he shows them underpinned with some horizontal 1x, and on the elevations are not. I would think they needed that be there.
Yeah, I think so too.
I mean, I know the reason for the stairs. I just think they seem uninviting, from a pedestrian standpoint, but
Yeah.
I used to live across the street at 235 and it was quite noisy living there, so I can understand the need to turn away from the street.
Do we have some consensus maybe on a motion and some conditions, Bill?
Yeah, I mean, I'll make a motion. Let's see, did staff have any conditions?
We didn't have any.
Okay. I'll make a motion for preliminary approval with the conditions that the stairs are underpinned. And the shutters, will have a center stile. And, Should I mention consistency of what we got lights or not?
Yes, right now the window and door schedule don't match the elevations.
Yeah,
So they
I
need,
noticed that too.
so the transoms, side lights and window need to match the elevations.
All right, yeah. Which are the yeah, they're all, yeah, okay, yeah, match the elevation. We can just say match the elevations.
Okay, any other comments? So I've got, upstairs be underpinned, the shutters have a center style and the transom side lights and the windows should match the elevation.
I just have a question. If the stucco cannot be removed from the archway on the brick, what is at least our purview over that? Would they come back before the board? I mean, would it be a staff issue if they can't be sort of exposed?
Or would they just re-stucco it?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
It's probably not old brick, I mean, because that.
I think
that
it's
arch would have been original.
in some of the survey photos, I think it's that turn of the century red brick with the yellow brick trim that you see
Yeah,
sometimes in
yeah.
storefronts.
So
So
it might be hard enough to work.
it might be.
I don't know, they just, it's just stuck over if it doesn't come off well.
It's just.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, I'm fine with that. Thank you.
I would think, yeah.
We have a motion on the floor. Will you final review by staff?
Yeah, I'm good with that, yeah.
Preliminary approval with board conditions. One, the stairs be underpinned. Two, the shutters have a center style. And three, the transom side lights and windows should match the elevations with final review by staff. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Caitlin, put the motion to a vote. Becky,
No, it is.
Daryl,
In favor?
Bill,
Yeah, in favor.
Caitlin.
Yay in favor.
Chair votes the majority and the motion passes 4-4 and 1 against. Agenda item 14 to Kennedy Fifth. Frankie, if you'll give us an introduction overview of the project, please.
Okay, to Kennedy Court is in Canberra, Borough. It is new construction in the Old City District. They are requesting approval for alterations to previous board approval. This is the project's location on Kennedy. And I will turn it over to the applicant.
Thank you. So this is a new house that we received approval to build. And as soon as we got permits and the owner decided he wanted to change some floor plans around, which warranted changing these windows from 5 feet. I thought it shouldn't even be an issue because you can't see it, but you actually, I went down there and you can see down a driveway and clearly see it goes from, I guess that's from Ashley, I believe. So that is why we're here.
That's at the back of the house, right?
Yes, sir.
Any any other questions?
Are they 1/1, like in the top drawing, or 2/2, like in the bottom right?
Good questions. I
You want to ruin my perfect record.
They're all the same, I'll tell you that. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. That's, I thought there were 2/2, but. Couldn't swear on that.
Those two look better.
Any other questions? There is no one speaking. Frankie, if you give us any staff comments and recommendations, please.
Just have observations. Proposal is changing the window size, which was a change denied by staff and permit. Because it was changing the size of fenestration, and we didn't feel that we could do that. We are not opposed to them doing it. We just felt it needed y'all's approval because anytime the size of fenestration is changed, we bring it to the board.
So we're not looking at the light cut, we're just looking at the size.
Right.
Yeah. The light cut will be whatever was approved previously.
That's sloppy.
Okay.
Neil, did you want to respond to or clarify anything?
No, just it would be nice to have, to give staff a little more power to approve something like that, that you all don't have to worry about it.
And that is per city architect, staff does not approve this change in the size of fenestration.
Okay, we are in board discussion and a vote.
And if it helps, it looks like the last revision to that permit I approved was 2/2.
We are only looking at the window size.
I'm fine with it. I mean, it still keeps the rhythm.
I'm fine.
Me too.
Becky, did you want to make a motion?
No.
I'll make a motion.
Carol?
Make a motion for just
Is this just
approval of windows.
Just approval, right?
Yeah, it's approval of fenestration change. Size.
Approval of change in fenestration.
Yes.
All right, we have a motion on the floor for approval of change in fenestration. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Kayla. I'll put the motion to a vote. Becky,
In favor.
Bill,
Yeah, in favor.
Carol,
In favor.
Kayla.
In favor.
Chair votes the majority and the motion unanimous. Thank
You voted to
you.
approve?
Agenda item 15 has been deferred by staff. We have a motion to adjourn. Do you have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Are you guys gonna?
Yeah.
Done.